Chapter 595. But a pity, the pirates you have met are not ordinary pirates. Take note to dodge. The light slash brought about an intense rotation, transforming into a ray of white light, flying towards the enemy's fleet. Above their heads. Tang Tian did not even take note of his aim, it was far off. But it makes people look forward to it. After attacking for a long time, only one frigate was destroyed, and just as he was about to continue attacking, the spiraling slash machine actually exploded again. He suddenly opened his eyes wide in anger and bellowed, "Kill!" Tang Tian flew into a rage. But no one laughed. For some reason, they had a premonition that their master's following actions would definitely not be normal. Wood splinters flew everywhere. The ship's body that was tougher than steel, in front of the sharp spiraling slash, did not have any resistance. The ship's body quickly left behind many crisscrossing slash marks. Taking the opportunity when the honeycomb sword cannon stopped firing, the pirate fleet quickly pulled apart. 2 regiments of flames blossomed behind it. Most of the pirates had poor equipment, and usually relied on numbers to fight. Such intense close-range firepower, if used on the pirates, would definitely be a destructive attack. Dong dong dong. Spiraling slash machine. Shursen knew the situation was urgent, and spoke quickly. "This is the control mechanism, it is the same as the honeycomb sword cannon just now, master. Take note, its load is 3 times that of the honeycomb sword cannon." Lien Bo-jun had already started to think about the practicality of such a tactic. The spiraling slash that was like raindrops brought forth a sharp whistle, piercing into the energy barrier, bringing forth a burst of shattered auras, leaving behind fine traces on the energy barrier. His voice stopped abruptly. He suddenly opened his eyes wide, as though he could not believe his own eyes. All the captains of the frigates screamed out in fear at the same time. The distance of 5 kilometers, to the spiraling slash that far surpassed the energy bullets, was covered in a blink of an eye. Other than that, although it had a strong penetrative power, it was unable to explode. The 3 m diameter spiraling slash, to a warship that was over 200 m long, was pitifully small. Unless it slashed at a crucial part like the keel, the killing power would be pitiful. Such a majestic and impactful scene, stunned by Xiao. Of course, it had its own weakness, and its energy load was even more astonishing. The so-called energy load, other than the impact on the body, was even more terrifying, the resonance effect on the energy in the body. The excessive resonance effect could possibly cause the martial artist to lose control of the energy in his body, resulting in his death. It was a pity that the plan was going to fail. There were too many spiraling blades, and their trajectories were unpredictable. And the other bad thing was that it was hard to aim, especially in the sea of energy. The chaotic energy flow in the sea of energy was extremely disruptive to its flight. Although its range was as high as 10 kilometers, it would often have a clear displacement after 3 kilometers. The assistant had made a mistake in his calculations. There were at least 40 spiraling blades and a team of over 120 people. Only by taking turns could they form such a firepower. The opponent's honeycomb sword cannon had suddenly stopped firing, causing the entire battlefield to sink into a strange silence. The storm of honeycomb sword cannons had shocked everyone. Such intense firepower, there were at least 10 groups of honeycomb sword cannons firing in turns. Shursen and the rest stared blankly at Tang Tian, collectively speechless. Although the honeycomb sword cannon's firepower was powerful, it had a fatal weakness, and that was its range. The sword aura released by the honeycomb sword cannon could only reach 3000 m, that was why it was classified as a close combat weapon. Even the warship's energy barrier was unable to block it, and a person's energy barrier was no stronger than paper in front of it. The first spiraling blade that flew out attracted the attention of Lien Bo-jun, who was on the Black Dragon warship, but the accuracy was too lacking. The spiraling blade was a powerful weapon, its high speed of rotation was extremely sharp, and even the energy barrier of the warship had difficulty blocking it. Tang Tian's angry roar came out from the dust cloud, his imposing aura surging out from the dust cloud. His face was covered in smoke, his naked upper body was covered in mist, perspiration flowed along his defined muscles that were like steel, making him look like a god of war. The explosion of the pirate warship caused him to wake up, and his expression became even weirder. Wait a minute, on this warship, there was only one spiraling blade. Everyone's scalp went numb, although to the hull of the warship, the damage caused by the spiraling blade was limited. But whoever was unlucky enough to be struck by it, the scene of blood would definitely cause them to lose their courage. The few warships that were quietly approaching did not expect that they would encounter such an intense attack. They suffered heavy casualties, and had no choice but to retreat to the back to rest. Until it suddenly stopped firing, and for some reason, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. Boom! It was the first time Lien Bojun knew that when the hissing sounds of snakes converged together, it would cause people's scalps to go numb. A distance of 5 kilometers was enough to cause the honeycomb sword cannon to lose its power, and at such a distance, regardless of whether it was his Black Dragon warship or the other warships, they all had many weapons that could be used. Screams and chaos immediately pervaded the battlefield, and the cannoneers who were initially attacking with all their might were now scared witless, rolling down from their seats and sprawling on the ground. The oppressive explosion like thunder, with an astonishing frequency, exploded in everyone's ears, causing their ears to buzz. Another explosion! Another explosion! Asshole! Asshole! Whoosh 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 whoosh, rays of light blades swept past. The speed was so fast that they could not catch it with their naked eyes. Tang Tian's body was trembling like a sieve, his eyes were wide open in anger, the muscles all over his body were constantly trembling, but his legs were still firmly nailed to his seat. Swoosh! Lien Bojun stared blankly at the quiet battlefield. Asshole! The adjutant also reacted, feeling ashamed. How could he not have thought of such a simple method? As expected of the master, he immediately passed down the order. Lien Bojun was very calm. Before the table collapsed, he picked up a cup of water and drank a mouthful, his body not moving an inch. There was no longer a need for the battle to continue. The morale of his side had been struck to the bottom by the ferocious light blades. Tang Tian felt his entire body moving, his body brimming with boundless energy. He licked his lips. In front of everyone's eyes, he took off his shirt, holding onto the handle with both hands, squatting down in a horse stance. He was like a nail nailed to the ground, his muscles bulging. First, it was the honeycomb sword cannon, followed by the spiraling blades. Using the human wave tactic, the firepower was maximized. Seems like Qin Yuran has an expert by her side. When young noble Bai Shao opened the cabin door and was prepared to attack, he was shocked by the spiraling blades that covered the sky and covered the earth. The spiraling blades above his head were like a flock of black birds. The battlefield was lit up by the spiraling blades' light aura. Since when was the spiraling blades' weak light aura able to light up the battlefield? A muffled sound came out. The powerful impact caused Tang Tian's body to tremble, his eyes suddenly opening wide. The entire battlefield was stunned by the concentrated honeycomb sword cannons. Even the main cannoneers had subconsciously stopped and stared blankly at the crazily spewing tongues of fire. The victory came out of nowhere, and without hesitation, Bai Shao turned and rushed towards the direction of the spiraling blades. From the corner of his eyes, he saw a frigate that was split into two. The frigate's luck was extremely bad. Its keel was actually struck by 5 spiraling blades. The keel was broken. It could be said to have hit the jackpot. Under the impact of the chaotic energy flow, the hull of the ship was quickly dismembered. The pirates on the ship screamed and escaped, but before they could escape far, sparks exploded and engulfed them. The underworld continent's demonic mounts looked at their master in a daze. The scene in front of them, appearing in such an intense battlefield, was extremely comical. Lien Bojun's expression did not change at all. The sparks that lit up caused his face to flicker. CSISI. Duo duo duo. It's too high. Shi Sen was filled with regret. He could not help but remind, Master, pay attention to your aim. So such a weapon, usually every warship would be equipped with 1 or 2, but no one had high hopes for it to be of much use. The spiraling blades also had another name, lottery machine. Whether or not it could hit the enemy, and how much use it could be, was like winning a lottery. It all depended on the will of the heavens. The pirate fleet was quickly retreating. The adjutant's face was devoid of blood. he laid on the ground and roared, "Lunatics! This bunch of lunatics! How many lottery machines did they actually install? 20 or 30? Dong dong dong, under Shirsen and the rest's stupefied and numb gazes, bang, the unbearable spiraling blades completely exploded, the rising dust enveloping Tang Tian. Dazzling light auras once again surged out from the opponent's warship. Before he could finish speaking, the arc in front of Tang Tian's seat lit up with a light aura, scaring Shirsen to the point that he scrambled backwards. No one liked to win the lottery, especially when there were so many of them. Although they knew that the probability of being hit was low, but without any protection, the feeling of being unable to dodge would only cause the fear in their hearts to spread even more. This was quite an interesting modification. Crack, a 3 m diameter circular light aura shot out from the arc at an astonishing speed. But when he turned to look at Tang Tian, his gaze turned sluggish. The master stood up from his seat excitedly. He moved his arms, squatted down, bent his waist, stretched his legs, and muttered, "Powerful! Truly powerful!" Bai Xiao felt that his common sense had been completely overturned. He urgently wanted to know what was happening. The spiraling blades coincidentally clashed with an energy bullet in the air. The energy bullet split into two like tofu, and the spiraling blades continued to shoot forward. Just a mere honeycomb sword cannon, and you want to deal with me? You guys are too naive. Lien Bo-jun sneered in his heart, his expression calm and composed. Retreat, maintain a 5 kilometers distance. One after another, the high-speed spiraling blades rubbed against the chaotic energy flow, forming sparks, like a flock of white birds that moved as fast as lightning, scattering sparks, flying in a strange trajectory in the air, flocking towards them. Bang! Seems like the honeycomb sword cannon was the opponent's trump card. He shook his head and ordered, "All ships are free to attack. Be careful of young noble Bai Xiao." Lien Bo-jun regained his calm. He could not help but ponder over the modification. To him, such a dense concentration of honeycomb sword cannons was definitely a special modification of the opponent's warship. He had to admit, the opponent's modification was extremely suitable. Although the opponent was a warship, but they would not participate in regular battles, and the enemies they dealt with were mostly pirates. What is this? Tang Tian was excited and curious at the same time. His seat was in a flat circular cabin, and in front of his seat was an arc that was more than 3 m wide. A white light flashed in front of Lien Bo-jun. He did not have time to react. The desk beside him was split into two and fell to the ground. The light aura from the arc instantly became extremely dazzling. Chapter 596. Tang Tian shook his head. "Name your price. I don't know how much this thing can sell for." According to his calculations, the dense spiral blades just now were equivalent to the firepower of 40 sets of spiral blades. Looking at the team behind Tang Tian, there were exactly 40 people. They must have some secret method to distribute the energy load to everyone. This way, they could distribute the energy load and achieve such a concentrated attack. Bai Xiao's discovery was something that Qin Yuran had also discovered. She felt that Big Brother Meng Nan was most likely someone who did not care about outside matters. She was used to seeing all kinds of people, and Brother Meng Nan's temperament was innocent and unpretentious, without the slightest bit of slyness, causing her to feel comfortable. Qin Yuran was startled for a moment, then praised. As expected of the name, only such a tyrannical name can match up to Big Brother Meng's unparalleled bravery. Suddenly, the image of the training ground, which was covered with bundles of icy blue tree branches as tall as half a person, appeared before his eyes. 2 million for 1, 300, that would be 600 million cloud coins. Thank you, Gongzi and your subordinates, for lending a helping hand and saving Yuran from danger. If I were to fall into the hands of the pirates, my life would be worse than death. Please accept my bow. Qin Yuran bowed, expressing her gratitude, and smiled sweetly. Young noble is such a hero. I have yet to ask for your name. Bai Xiao's eyes opened wide and exclaimed, Empyrean Ice Tree Spear. Law fragment, it's actually a law fragment. Bai Xiao muttered to himself, and suddenly said anxiously, Do you still have this origin mark box? I want them all. Just name your price. Anyway, just be careful. Tang Tian waved his hand. It didn't seem too difficult to earn money. Is there something wrong with the warship? Qin Yu Ran immediately asked. He smiled and said, little brother's skills are not very good, but I'm just a miscellaneous character. I know half a bucket of water about everything, but I know a little of everything. 1 box. Tang Tian added, oh, 1 box only has 300. When Bai Xiao heard this, he threw the origin mark box in his hand out. The bronze box shattered, and a dark red light flashed in the air. What's with the dry mouth and tongue? Origin mark box. Tang Tian told Bai Xiao how to use it. Just throw it out. How much? Bai Xiao was stunned. The kind-hearted Qin Yu Ran spoke gently. I wonder what Big Brother Meng is selling? Bai Xiao also looked at Tang Tian. He knew that the warship was gifted to Qin Yu Ran by the Ming continent's continent lord, and was a genuine bloodwood warship. Why are my legs feeling a little weak? Bai Xiao muttered. 2 million for one, what do you think, Brother Meng? Just now, the earth-shattering spiral slash came from the hands of these people. Even the spiral slash machine was used up. Tang Tian laughed happily, while Qin Yu Ran, who was watching by the side, was dumbstruck. She was still thinking about how to help Big Brother Meng, but in the blink of an eye, Big Brother Meng earned 600 million cloud coins. Tang Tian took out an origin mark box and gave it to Bai Xiao. What about this? There was a high chance that a certain clan had discovered a brand new metal suitable for forging weapons, and thus began to embark on the path of arms dealers. However, it would be difficult to find a buyer for such a large quantity of weapons without any connections. Law fragment. Tang Tian explained, inside every origin mark box, there is a law fragment sealed inside, and its power is not bad. Tang Tian took out the black gold armor. What about this? But, from the other party's reaction, it seemed as though he did not roam the world often. Because the other party did not have any reaction to his and Qin Yu Ran's names, as long as one was slightly knowledgeable, they would have heard of young noble Bai Xiao and soul singer Qin Yu Ran. There's still one more box. Tang Tian said. Bai Xiao took it and looked at it carefully, and was surprised. This is the first time this little brother has seen such a material. The workmanship is excellent, the feel is good, the hardness is very high, the energy load needs to be tested, but I think selling it for 50 to 60,000 cloud coins should not be a problem. Shi Sen was also somewhat impressed. He had been dealing with weapons for many years, and had to admit that Bai Xiao's valuation was extremely accurate. Tang Tian thought about what Bing had said, and took out a black wind blade and handed it over. Qin Yu Ran took over and said sincerely, Big Brother Meng is going to the White Sands continent. If there is anything, please come and find this little sister. This little sister will be staying in the White Sands continent for a period of time. This little sister has some connections in the White Sands continent. Big Brother Meng, please do not treat me as an outsider. What is this? Bai Xiao sized up the small bronze box in his hands, filled with curiosity. Good. Tang Tian was overjoyed. He did not expect the origin mark box to be so valuable. But thinking about it, the remnant spirit treasures were not cheap. But since there was a way to earn money, everything else was not a problem. Arms dealer? Bai Xiao's expression did not change, but his heart was shocked. He never thought that he would meet such elites here. From the moment they entered the hall, the 46 of them did not even move a finger. He felt that Yu Ran's luck was truly good to be able to meet such an elite team on the road. She was an intelligent person, she was good with money and power, her thoughts were exquisite. Upon hearing the name, she guessed that it was most likely a fake name, but her face did not reveal any of it. Instead, she took the opportunity to praise Tang Tian. Bai Xiao did not think too much, although she was surprised that Meng Nan was not familiar with the market, but came out to do business. She thought that he must be out to gain experience, and happily agreed, no problem. She had decided to buy a few of Big Brother Meng's treasures at a high price, and help Big Brother Meng get through this difficult time. If she was not worried, Big Brother Meng's ego was strong, she was willing to help him. Compared to saving his life, what was money? The other party used a fake name. He must have some misgivings. Walking the Jianghu, such a situation was very common. What a pity! Bai Xiao, who was at the side, had a warm smile on his face. Pa, the paper fan in his hand closed, his face full of surprise. Brother Meng's bravery has truly opened Bai Zhao's eyes. In truth, this little brother finally mustered up the courage and was prepared to fight to the death with the pirates. I pushed open the cabin door, but in the end, I saw the spiraling slash that covered the sky, and that bit of courage immediately disappeared without a trace. Until now, this little brother's legs are still weak. Bai Zhao also thought that Tang Tian was using a fake name, and what business? How could he have elite bodyguards? Bai Zhao had traveled the world and had seen countless of famous armies, and the 40 elite bodyguards in front of him were definitely the elites of the elites. He had to remind them. When they were training, they had experimented. 10 people's energy were injected into the Black Wind Blade at the same time, but the Black Wind Blade did not break. Bai Zhao was surprised, but immediately felt that it was natural. If they were arms dealers, it would not be strange to have such elite bodyguards. It was his first time seeing such a black gold weapon, and seeing Tang Tian's newbie performance, he understood. Tang Tian spoke earnestly to the two of them. For war equipment like warships, it must be of high quality. You must find someone who knows, and check it properly. If you are careless during normal times in battle, it will most likely become a fatal flaw. Bai Zhao suddenly stood up, his face filled with disbelief. Just now that was only 300 pieces. Bai Zhao looked at Tang Tian as though he was looking at a monster. After a long while, he then mocked himself. Please don't use such words that this little brother can't take it. Where did you get so many law fragments from? The cooked duck flew away. The meat that was in his mouth was gone. The young man was not happy. They are truly elites. Bai Zhao was moved. Then the price will have to be doubled, at least 100,000 cloud coins. The pity there is no blade intent. If there was blade intent, then the price would be a different matter. After saying that, he immediately realized and apologized. Sorry, this one did not have the intention to inquire. Brother Meng, name a price. This little brother wants all of this chest. Tang Tian took the money card. The purple-colored money card was noble and elegant. It was already 600 million. How could it not be noble and elegant? His heart was thumping so hard. What was going on? Tang Tian did not say a word. He angrily poured water into his mouth, flask after flask. Behind him, Shursen led the underworld continent's demonic mounts and stood there quietly like 46 statues. Tang Tian was furious in his heart. The warship's workmanship was truly terrible. It had been destroyed twice. How could it still be used? Hey, how can a war equipment be made so crudely? Qin Yu Ran and Bai Zhao looked at each other. They had decided that once they reached the White Sands continent, they would conduct a complete overhaul of the warship. The underworld continent's demonic mounts behind Tang Tian, who were like statues from the start, all trembled. A few of their breathing became hurried. All of them had 6 in their hands. Oh my God, doesn't that mean they have 12 million cloud coins? No need to be polite, I am Meng Nan. Tang Tian was gloomy, a wild beast roaring in his heart. The young man was not happy. Not happy. The young man was not happy. Oh, recently money has been tight, we need to go sell some things. Tang Tian did not hide anything. Bai Zhao and Qin Yu Ran were startled by Tang Tian's sudden warning. Bai Zhao quickly displayed his young master character. How could he be called a young master if he lacked money? Without saying a word, he took out a money card and gave it to Tang Tian. This nameless money card has 600 million cloud coins. Brother Meng, please take a look. Bai Zhao flipped it over and over, injecting energy into it. After inspecting it for a long time, he raised his head and said with a confident tone, My teacher in the academy is called Joseph. In the past 10 years, he is the only grandmaster who has ever published a thesis on the Empyrean ice tree spears. And I was fortunate enough to participate in his experiments. I can say responsibly that this is the Empyrean ice tree spear. A genuine Empyrean ice tree spear. Bai Zhao tested it and said, It is well made, the price is slightly more expensive than the blade, and can be sold for 150,000 cloud coins. Bai Zhao and Qin Yu Ran were surprised. Meng Nan's expression did not seem to be fake. Could he really be a businessman? Qin Yu Ran had an additional thought. She noticed the first half of Tang Tian's sentence. Money is a little tight. and immediately formed an image in her mind of a family that was in dire straits, and a young master who had not been involved in worldly affairs for a long time, under the accompaniment of a loyal bodyguard, sold his family's treasures to tide through the crisis. Tang Tian took out an Empyrean ice tree branch and gave it to Bai Xiao. "What about this?" His eyes darkened and he fainted. Qin Yu Ran confirmed the guess in her heart. Shursen was immediately comforted. "Finally, I am not the only one who admitted my mistake." Even the powerful Bai Xiao admitted his mistake. He could not help but cough lightly and reminded Meng Nan proudly, "Young Master Bai, please take a closer look. Although this is similar to the Empyrean ice tree spear, but it is not the Empyrean ice tree spear." Shursen's smile froze on his face. He was dumbstruck. Shursen, who was by the side, spoke out proudly, "This blade can withstand the combined strength of 10 people." Tang Tian felt that the two people in front of him were very experienced, and immediately became happy. "Can I trouble the two of you to help me take a look, and see which items are more valuable?" Chapter 597. Tang Tian made up his mind. When he reached White Sands continent, he would definitely go to the shipyard to order a few warships. "Pa. Tang Tian suddenly asked, "Old Shur, how much does one warship cost?" In between words, he was probing the origins of the Empyrean ice tree spears. It was the first time that so many Empyrean ice tree spears had appeared, and he was extremely interested in Meng Nan's background. "All right." Tang Tian happily agreed. He believed that the master would not have any problems with recruiting people. One underworld continent demonic mounts only required 2 million cloud coins, 10 of them were 20 million, 10 of them were 200 million, and 500 of them were only 1 billion. Bai Zhao's expression was serious. "When we reach White Sands continent, I will ask my family to send the money over. I hope that Brother Meng can leave some for this little brother." Upon lying down, the tiredness was like a tide, drowning Tang Tian. In the battle, his body had suffered from the continuous energy attacks, and his physical strength was greatly depleted. He was overly excited during the battle, and did not feel anything. Now that he was resting, he could not hold on any longer, and fell into a deep sleep. Although quantity can cause qualitative change, but qualitative change will always be stronger than quantity. Bai Xiao immediately understood, and was surprised. Could it be that Brother Meng still has more? Qin Yu Ran's eyes moved. "Brother Bai, don't fight with this little sister. 20 million, this little sister can have another treasure." His body actually became stronger again. "Most of them are," Bai Xiao said, "but there are too many of them, and there will be a few that have gained intelligence, and they call it awakening. The awakened blue dwarves are extremely intelligent, and if they are willing to pledge loyalty to the blue oceans, they will immediately obtain a high position. But there are also many awakened blue dwarves who have their own thoughts and live together. The current culture of the blue dwarves has many origins from these different species." When Tang Tian woke up, his entire body felt extremely comfortable, and he subconsciously stretched his body. Tang Tian kept the Empyrean ice tree spears, and chatted for a while. Seeing that Qin Yu Ran was tired, everyone dispersed. When he woke up, he felt that the world was truly fair, and a strong sense of superiority surfaced in his heart. If Bai Xiao knew that the master's Empyrean ice tree spears could cover the entire training grounds, what expression would he have? In his deep sleep, Tang Tian's breathing was long and drawn out. His body rose and fell rhythmically. In the blue world, only high-level blue dwarves who are loyal to Blue Ocean have the qualifications to wield the Empyrean ice tree spear. However, after the intense ecstasy, after Shursen calmed down, was it because he was too shocked that he became numb? Bai Xiao said solemnly, he had once come into contact with the Empyrean ice tree spear, and knew its power like the back of his hand. Gray flames suddenly emerged from his skin and burned silently. The energy of the day kept attacking, and a small part of the impurities inevitably rushed into his body. With the burning of the null flames, the impurities in the energy were quickly destroyed. What an invasive gaze, it was shockingly powerful. Bai Xiao laughed bitterly in his heart. I still have 800 million cloud coins. Tang Tian's eyes lit up. He suddenly realized, the zero energy body and the warship were a perfect match. If the warship was filled with zero energy bodies, how strong would their fighting strength be? He calmed his heart and began to immerse himself in his cultivation. Qin Yuran was surprised. I thought they were all stupid and did not have any intelligence. Isn't this a very good way to cultivate? A bundle of Empyrean ice tree spears that were half the height of a human. Isn't this a perfect match? Without waiting for Bai Xiao to speak, Tang Tian waved his hand and said generously, I'll gift this to you. No problem. Tang Tian picked out 110 spears and placed them in front of Bai Xiao. At the same time, he opened his palm. He looked at Tang Tian reluctantly as he once again bundled up the Empyrean ice tree spears. The 100 Empyrean ice tree spears only caused the bundle of Empyrean ice tree spears to lose a small portion. Are there only blue dwarves in the blue world? Are they very big? Qin Yuran asked curiously. It was dead silence. After a moment, Bai Xiao laughed bitterly. Brother Meng truly lives up to his name, too ferocious. I am even suspecting that you guys have ransacked the blue dwarf city? The null flames became smaller and smaller, until it disappeared. Fundamental martial techniques were the best standard. He was too familiar with them, and any minute changes would not escape his eyes. Through the fundamental martial techniques, he could clearly feel the changes in his body. No problem. Tang Tian waved his hand and said generously, the feeling of being rich was truly different. It truly is worth a lot of money. Bai Xiao nodded his head. It has two uses, one is for research, the other is to refine the blue poison. If it is auctioned, this spear should be worth more than 10 million cloud coins. It is extremely vast, they have their own city and their own culture. Bai Xiao said, the blue dwarves race is much bigger than what we can imagine. What we have seen is just the tip of the iceberg. The main body of the blue world is spread throughout the void, and through the void, their tentacles reach out to the various continents, and that is why the blue tide appears everywhere. Before he finished speaking, bang, a bundle of Empyrean ice tree spears landed in front of Bai Xiao. The dust that was stirred up had the smell of cloud coins. Yesterday, he had frantically controlled the weapons on the warship, and his body was constantly enduring the impact of the energy load. The impact of the energy load was not a good feeling, but at that time, he was too excited and forcefully used the strength in his body and endured the strong energy load. Tang Tian jumped up from his bed, pushed open the door, and after asking for the location of the training grounds, he walked over. For a combat unit like the Bloodwood warship, it usually required a long period of time to travel in the sea of energy, and the training grounds were necessary facilities. The strength of the crew members directly affected the might of the warship. He knew how much it was sought after in the market. Tang Tian naturally did not return to the cargo hold, so Antichio specially prepared the best room for Tang Tian and his group to stay in. I don't know. Shursen revealed a look of shock. Such a high-grade thing, this subordinate has never come into contact with it before. But the White Sands continent has a specialized shipyard. Master can go and ask. All right, I have truly hugged a golden thigh this time. The null flames coiled around his fists, and as he waved it, he carefully experienced every change in the null flames. Heaven has pity on me, to be able to use the word only in a billion, that feels great. Using martial techniques as an example, a gunner with profound attainments in sword techniques could control the honeycomb sword cannon and could greatly increase the might of the honeycomb sword cannon. A true expert could even control a honeycomb sword cannon and destroy a warship. Bai Xiao happily placed the money card into Tang Tian's hands and laughed bitterly. When money is needed, you will only regret it. Today I have experienced it. Bai Xiao was even more surprised, but immediately became overjoyed. Brother Meng, however much you have, I want it all. Thinking about the warships that covered the sky, the dense artillery fire that was like rain, suppressing the enemies to the point that they could not even raise their heads. Tang Tian immediately became excited. How to display the advantage of the zero-energy body had always been the biggest headache for Ursa Major constellation. If this plan was truly successful, then the disparity in strength between Ursa Major constellation and the Sacred Saint Galaxy would be greatly reduced. Are you sure? Tang Tian's face became suspicious. Tang Tian had never seen the equipment in the training grounds before, but after following Bing for so long, he had seen all sorts of strange equipment and quickly grasped the usage of the equipment. Only a perverse person like Tang Tian would start training on the second day after the battle. How much money do you have? Tang Tian stared at Bai Xiao and asked directly, his hands already untying the Empyrean ice tree spears. After thinking about the details of what happened yesterday, he quickly understood the situation. Completely ignoring Qin Yu Ran's surprised face, he turned and asked Bai Xiao, "Do you really want to buy it?" Seeing that Tang Tian had earned 1.4 billion in the blink of an eye, Qin Yu Ran was happy and disappointed at the same time. She was happy that big brother Mang Nan had money, but disappointed because she was unable to help. She secretly noted down the matter. When they reach White Sands continent, maybe she could help big brother Meng. Big brother Bai knows a lot. Qin Yu Ran's face was filled with worship. She pointed to the Empyrean ice tree spears. Then aren't the Empyrean ice tree spears worth a lot of money? Master shouldn't object, right? He should. I'm so nervous, what do I do? The Empyrean ice tree spears are a special product of the blue dwarves. They are birthed from the blue sea and are formed from energy crystals. Its most unique aspect is that it contains a type of energy poison. We call it the blue poison. This energy poison has yet to be discovered in other places. It is able to quickly corrode energy. The speed is fast. The poison is tyrannical. It is shocking. From the looks of it, although the energy burden would cause a certain amount of damage to the body, but to the zero-energy body, it was extremely beneficial. He practiced the fundamental martial techniques for a while. This was his warm-up. She had the heart to help big brother Mang Nan, although her family was not considered rich, but she could still take out 20 million. Although she knew that big brother Mang Nan had just earned 600 million and did not lack 20 million, but she still wanted to express her feelings. The debt of saving her life was as heavy as a mountain. Upon returning to the room, Shi Sen immediately spoke up, "Master, the plan to replenish the underworld continent's demonic mounts." Having just experienced an extremely dangerous battle, everyone was physically and mentally exhausted. Bai Zhao's heart jumped. Could it be that he truly had a lot? But upon thinking about the money card in his pocket, he no longer had any misgivings, but he was still cautious. If it is a lot, then we can't use the auction price. 8 million cloud coins for one. How about that? Shi Sen's face revealed a look of ecstasy. After so many years, it was the first time that his team was able to replenish with new blood. Bai Xiao was dumbstruck. His eyes stared straight at the densely packed Empyrean ice tree spears, his expression sluggish. "No problem, look for me when you have money." Tang Tian patted his chest, feeling very heroic. And it can even help the zero-energy body evolve. Become stronger. Replenish 500 men, that means I can have 45 more men. As reserves, I'll do it like that. But for now, I need to properly digest my gains. A series of explosions came out from his body, causing him to jump in fright. He immediately inspected his body carefully, and in the next moment, his face revealed a look of joy. Although it was just a trace, but the slight strengthening was not easy. Warship. I must definitely buy a warship. Qin Yu Ran covered her mouth with both hands. She could not believe her own eyes. Tang Tian yawned and said unclearly, "Let's rest. 8 million for one, 10 for 80 million, 10 for 800 million, 100. Oh, the first customer, I'll gift you 10. Tang Tian muttered to himself. Pushing open the training grounds, there was no one inside. After experiencing the battle yesterday, everyone needed to rest. Regardless of whether it was their bodies or their minds, they all needed to rest. "How many do you need?" Tang Tian asked. After calming himself down, he sat down and started to think. The improvement of the body was not without reason. After thinking about it, the only possible reason was the battle yesterday. Chapter 598. Bai Xiao was suddenly enlightened and praised, "Yu Ran still sees things clearly. This foolish brother has been blinded." Whoa, so many people. Tang Tian looked at the densely packed people below, and was speechless. He was at a loss, but suddenly he understood that was what he needed to think and clarify. He was filled with gratitude towards Meng Nan. If not for Meng Nan, he would have thought that he was living a carefree life, but in truth, he was living a muddle-headed life. I never thought that I would actually see the real underworld continent's demonic mounts here. When Qin Yuran walked out of the warship, the crowd outside immediately exploded. Tang Tian scratched his chin. He felt that pulling magic flute to earn money was a good idea. In the battle yesterday, he should have been the one who was the most tired, but why did he seem to be fine? Could it be that in his eyes, the battle was not even worth mentioning? These fellows are too perverse. How can such coordination be done? Thus, the scene in front of them happened. Qin Yuran was hailed as the singer who uses her soul to sing, and in the sacred Saint Galaxy's 10,000 continents, she had an extremely high reputation. Wherever she went, she would be enthusiastically chased after by all the influential people of the various continents. Tang Tian laughed out loud. "Don't worry, you can have as many as you want. What do I really want to do?" And at this time, Big Brother Meng Nan actually ran to the training grounds. "Because I have something I want to do." Qin Yuran opened her eyes. It was warm and soft. The air was filled with her favorite incense. The bedroom was quiet and serene, as though it was a lifetime ago. She stretched lazily, got out of bed, washed up, and leisurely started to eat her breakfast and drink her tea. Hearing the servant chattering about how Big Brother Meng Nan had gone to the training grounds early in the morning, she was startled, and subconsciously put down the pastries in her hands. Qin Yuran became even more curious. She did not disturb the others, and went over. Through the glass, she could see the entire training grounds, and immediately realized it was the group of bodyguards under Big Brother Meng Nan. Qin Yuran covered her mouth. She almost cried out. She never thought that Big Brother Meng Nan would actually do such a thing. Her heart was filled with worry. How could the proud and arrogant Bai Xiao endure such humiliation? With Shi Sen and the others attracting attention, Tang Tian's cultivation was not as conspicuous. She was very surprised. She definitely didn't want to recall the battle yesterday. At that time, the despair and fear almost occupied her body and mind, making her unable to struggle. Tang Tian rubbed his chin and muttered to himself, I was wondering why this scene was so familiar. Isn't this what magic flute usually does?" "Sigh, we can pull magic flute over to perform. It must be very popular. I wonder if we can earn money." Moreover, this boss was very nice to them. Tang Tian cultivated for a full 4 hours before he stopped and prepared to return to his room to take a shower. Upon leaving the training grounds, he met Bai Xiao and Qin Yuran. Bai Xiao laughed. "Brother Meng is truly hardworking. No wonder you are so powerful. This little brother admires you." "Miss Qin seems to be very popular," Shi Sen said through the window. Bai Xiao was left. His face was green and red. Suddenly, his heart was filled with shame. He was born of a noble background. His talent was astonishing. And at such a young age, he had already made a name for himself, traveling the world, making friends, talking loudly and boastfully. He had always been content with his leisurely life. Everyone was full of praises for him, and everyone said that his future was boundless. Very quickly, the warship docked at the pier, and the commotion outside came out. He was both admiring and envious of Meng Nan, admiring his fighting spirit and diligence, but envious that Meng Nan was already very clear of his own goal, the intense fighting spirit and fighting intent that assaulted his face. He could clearly feel the intense desire that could not be concealed beneath his perspiration. Qin Yuran's eyes lit up. Magic flute? After she finished her breakfast, she anxiously walked towards the training grounds. When she reached the training grounds, she realized that it was filled with people. She was filled with gratitude towards Bai Xiao. To be able to stand up for him in the face of danger, this was something that not many people could do. She did not want to see the two of them become enemies, and being friends was the best. Big Brother Bai Xiao had many connections, and was also shrewd. With his help, Big Brother Meng Nan would definitely earn a lot of money. This word was obviously related to music. The people following him were all old soldiers. All of them were proud and arrogant, and similarly could not tolerate it, and strongly requested for the daily training to increase the intensity. This request was unanimously agreed upon by everyone. The true underworld continent's demonic mounts are brave and good at fighting, persevering and indomitable, with strict discipline, skilled in battle formations. They are the strongest elite soldiers in the world, and were once the king of soldiers. Bai Xiao stared at Shursen and the rest who were sweating profusely, and praised, "Furthermore, all of them are old soldiers with at least 10 years of experience. The only regretful thing is, they are no longer young. If they were 10 years younger, just based on these 46 men, they would definitely be a force that cannot be ignored." Qin Yu Ran decided to take a look. Qin Yu Ran secretly noted it down in her heart. She tidied up her clothes and smiled sweetly at Tang Tian. "Big brother Meng, I'll be leaving first." Tang Tian patted Bai Zhao's shoulder and advised, "Xiao Bai, you have to be serious too. Perspiration will not lie. I'm going to take a bath." But Meng Nan's words were simple and unadorned, but it was like a huge bell, causing him to be deeply shaken. A person stronger than him had told him not to waste time. Perspiration will not lie. Who exactly are they? Bai Xiao was startled and said, "Maybe they are used to it. Habits formed from being in the army for a long time are not something that can be changed in a day or two. I have seen those old soldiers, and some of them will maintain the habit of training until they can no longer train anymore." Qin Yu Ran then noticed that Shursen's white hair was drenched in perspiration and could not bear it. Why are they still training so hard? They're already so old. And Xiao Bai, the true underworld continent's demonic mounts? Qin Yu Ran pondered over his words. The underworld continent's demonic mounts have truly declined for a long time, and the current underworld continent's demonic mounts in the market, 9 out of 10 are fake, and not even one is real. Even among the underworld continent's locals, there are not many who are willing to participate in the demonic mount test. But these people are the true underworld continent's demonic mounts. Bai Xiao said solemnly. Shursen thought even more. Since the master had already agreed to replenish them with new blood, then they had to make preparations early. It had been a long time since they had such a complete group. Bai Zhao's voice sounded out beside her, filled with emotions and surprise, and Qin Yu Ran then realized that unknowingly, Bai Xiao had also arrived beside her. But she was attracted by Bai Zhao's words. Underworld continent's demonic mounts? You mean the underworld continent's demonic mounts? Seeing that Bai Xiao had already made arrangements, Qin Yu Ran calmed down. "Big brother Meng, are you really not coming with us?" Qin Yu Ran stared at Tang Tian with her beautiful eyes, her face pleading. "Miss, we are going out." Aunt Chiu reminded. The other underworld continent's demonic mounts were also ashamed. It was fine if they were not as strong as the master, but to not even be as hard-working as the master, they truly deserved to die. And in the battle yesterday, it was completely the master who fought alone, and they did not have much use. To the self-proclaimed elites of the underworld continent's demonic mounts, to obtain safety under the protection of their boss, there was nothing more humiliating than that. He then pointed out, Brother Meng's background truly makes one curious. An origin mark box that I have never heard of before, and such an astonishing number of Empyrean ice tree spears, and the bodyguards by your side are actually real underworld continent's demonic mounts. I am afraid that Brother Meng's family is even more astonishing than what I imagined. What a high synchronization rate, it definitely exceeds 80%. Oh my god. What did I see? Bai Xiao was startled. He never thought that Tang Tian would actually say such words. But Tang Tian's expression was extremely serious, and he could clearly feel that it was his true thoughts. Bai Xiao was obviously more thoughtful. He laughed. Brother Meng likes peace and quiet, then I won't force it. I have already booked a room for you guys at the White Sands Hotel. You guys can directly go there and stay. Brother Meng, please don't blame me for being a busybody. I am still thinking about the Empyrean ice tree spears in Brother Meng's hands. Please leave one for me. Bai Zhao's heart trembled. Could it be that other than that bundle, he still had more in stock? Suddenly, he was filled with suspicion towards his own purchasing power. He had already sent a letter to his mentor, and decided to contact a few more families, and buy all the Empyrean ice tree spears. On the same day, the White Sands Continent's fleet who had received the news personally came to receive them, and when the Bloodwood warship arrived at the White Sands Continent, it received a warm welcome. But at the moment, all of the elites were filled with shock, as though they had seen a ghost, and would occasionally exclaim out in surprise. Xianxia's heart became ruthless. If in the future, boss had to be at the front of every battle, then what was the use of them? Fighting was already the only thing that the group of old fellows could do. They definitely could not fall to such a state. Bai Zhao's face gradually calmed down. He raised his head and laughed bitterly. I am not as good as Brother Meng. When Xianxia woke up and knew that Tang Tian was training, he was extremely ashamed. Since when did the leader train, and his subordinates slack off? Such a laughable thing. How could it happen to the elites of the underworld continent's demonic mounts? Tang Tian was not humble at all, and nodded his head. Of course, because I want to become even more powerful, I still have many things to do, and cannot waste time. Without saying a word, they all rushed to the training grounds and started to train. Surrounding them were the bodyguards of the fleet. They were all hired by Aunt Chiu for a high price, and all of them had at least 5 years of military experience. They were adept in battle formations, their individual strengths were outstanding, and were the elites of their respective continents. Qin Yuran laughed sweetly. Big brother Bai Xiao has helped me a lot. It was not only her, even Bai Xiao was under immense pressure, and it could be seen from the fact that he had not woken up yet. All of the elite bodyguards that were hired for a high price were also dispirited. Qin Yuran looked at Bai Xiao, then retracted her gaze. What has it got to do with us? I only know that Big Brother Meng saved my life, and if that is the case, being friends is better than being enemies. Not going. Tang Tian shook his head. I want to go buy things. Training grounds. Chapter 599. Xianxia was moved, but his face did not show it, and only nodded his head. All right. Following the manager's introduction, the dazzling array of weapons on the shelves caused Tang Tian to be dazzled. Compared to the spirit treasures in Heaven's Road, the sacred Saint Galaxy's weapons did not have much spirituality, but they were filled with killing intent, and the most miraculous thing was that many of the weapons contained sword concepts. Just as the two of them were discussing, the door was pushed open, and Tang Tian walked out. Let's go, let's get down to business. They had just entered the trading house when a manager welcomed them. Welcome to Suji Worldwide Commerce, how can I serve you? Tang Tian said without hesitation. I'll buy 50 sets first, old Shi, and the rest of you can have one each. I want to go to the biggest trading house. Tang Tian said without hesitation. This is White Sands City's biggest weapon street. The entire street is filled with trading houses that sell weapons. All sorts of valuable goods from different continents are all on the shelves. As long as you have money, you can buy any weapon, including warships. The hotel manager introduced proudly. There's a Suji Worldwide Commerce here? Xianxia suddenly became excited. The other underworld continent demonic mounts beside him were all extremely excited. Su Jin was also stunned, but he had seen the world before, although his heart was in a perilous state, but his face remained calm. Can this one appraise it? The manager's tone was warm but not flattering. He recognized the manager of the White Sands Hotel as the highest grade hotel in the city. The White Sands Hotel was loved by the rich and powerful. Tang Tian asked curiously, what's the standard? The two of them were roused. For the sake of not attracting too much attention, Xianxia brought 10 people. Very quickly, following the increase in grade, the price of the weapons caused people's faces to turn ashen. Su Jin touched it and knew that it was real Empyrean Ice Tree Spears, real Empyrean Ice Tree Spears. He was secretly excited. The astonishing amount of Empyrean Ice Tree Spears in front of him was definitely the biggest transaction of Empyrean Ice Tree Spears in history. Su Jin was surprised. With a smile on his face, he extended his hand and said, please follow me. 100 million cloud coins. He did not even hesitate. He was definitely a tyrant. The biggest trading house? The hotel manager looked at Tang Tian. The biggest trading house here is the Suji Worldwide Commerce. With a few thousand years of history, they have a wide range of goods. But they have a rule that if you want to enter the trading firm, you have to pay at least 100 million. 500,000 cloud coins for one night. Ah Lung clicked his tongue. He had just heard about it. When Bai Xiao booked the hotel, she specially booked a floor for them to stay in. As long as it meets the shop's standards, you can buy it, the manager said. Su Jin's heart jumped. This sentence meant that this person had a large number of Empyrean ice tree spears. He forced himself to calm down and said with a smile, the liquid funds in Su Ji's account is 70 billion. As long as it doesn't exceed a certain number, there shouldn't be a problem. If it does, then I can apply for permission. It shouldn't be too much of a problem if it's within 100 billion. But the price of the sword was as high as 20 billion cloud coins, causing everyone's expression to freeze. Tang Tian, who had just felt that he was very rich, suddenly felt that he was poor. This hotel is really luxurious. It must cost quite a lot for one night. Shirsen was a little hesitant as he looked around. The decorations of the hotel were extremely luxurious and exquisite. Is it famous? Tang Tian was surprised. 50 sets of wind-dispelling ointment. The manager recorded it down. He did not make a fuss. 20 million cloud coins was just a small business. How many are there? Tang Tian asked. Tang Tian threw out 10 bundles of Empyrean ice tree spears. As for high-grade weapons, they contained laws, but most of these laws were incomplete. Empyrean ice tree spears? The manager's face revealed a look of shock. He said cautiously, I will have to ask the shopkeeper about this. May I ask if you want to sell the Empyrean ice tree spears? Tang Tian shook his head. He looked at Su Jin. How many more can you buy? Su Jin nodded his head in his heart. It was a reliable price. The other party had obviously done their research. He said straightforwardly, deal. And in terms of medical supplies, we first recommend Benevolent Hall's Evil Dispelling Ointment. Its use is to remove the hidden injuries left behind by long-term energy corrosion in the body. Out of the 2,400 similar products, we have carefully tested and compared them, and finally picked out Benevolent Hall's Evil Dispelling Ointment. Because its effect is the most outstanding, it can even remove the hidden injuries left behind over 10 years. Every bottle of Evil Dispelling Ointment is sold for 400,000 cloud coins. Although it is expensive, but we still give it a 5-star recommendation. The hotel manager was secretly happy. The people he brought along could get a 5% commission. He initially thought that the group of people were peasants and could not hide their rustic aura, but due to his professional conduct, he was still very dedicated to serving them. Who knew that they were rich? Weapons that cost 5 billion cloud coins were only high-level weapons. Our shop's goods are mainly separated into individual weapons and army weapons. Please follow me. This side is the A area. It displays all of our shop's individual weapons. Among them are weapons, armor, support, medical supplies, etc. The manager gave an extremely detailed data, which was extremely convincing. Tang Tian said straightforwardly. In the VIP lounge, Su Jin said, Sire is preparing to sell the Empyrean ice tree spears. I wonder if I can take a look? Sounds powerful. Tang Tian's eyes lit up. Let's go to the Su Ji Worldwide Commerce. Shirsen jumped in fright. His face was filled with pain. So expensive? What a waste. It's 500,000. Why don't they just rob someone? At the top of the weapons rack, there was a scarlet red sword, emitting an astonishing aura. The energy around it was continuously being absorbed by it. Tang Tian curiously asked the manager to take a look. The manager did not reject, and handed the sword to Tang Tian's hands. Tang Tian then realized the treasured sword called Scarlet Snake actually had a complete law inside. Alright. Tang Tian was extremely straightforward. Bang. A bundle of Empyrean ice tree spears was thrown onto the carpet. No problem. Tang Tian waved his hand. Su Jin, who had never lost his composure before, had his mouth wide open. Like a fool, he was dumbstruck. The situation that a lone ranger has to face will always be complicated and ever-changing. This also means that they need more methods to adapt to the situation. In our statistics, the importance of medical supplies is second only to weapons and armors. We will always advise these types of customers to increase their investment. In our statistics, lone rangers who carry medical supplies that cost more than 2 million cloud coins Their average lifespan is 5 times that of those who do not invest more than 1 million in medical supplies. They were all country bumpkins. How could they have seen such a luxurious place before? Then are you buying the Empyrean ice tree spears? Tang Tian asked directly. In this aspect, the hotel manager was obviously more professional. He continued, the Suji Worldwide Commerce specializes in high-end weapons trading. In the entire Sacred Saint Galaxy, the Suji Worldwide Commerce can enter the top 5. They have a unique characteristic. They do not only sell their own weapons. As long as there is a weapon that they feel is outstanding, they will automatically place it on the Suji Worldwide Commerce's shelves. Many weapon shops take pride in their own products being able to enter the Suji Worldwide Commerce. Very famous. They only sell high-quality goods and are extremely famous. Shi Sen, who was overly excited, did not know how to describe it. Su Jin's tone was filled with confidence. Since when did the Suji Worldwide Commerce worry about money? Everyone in the VIP lounge took in a deep breath of cold air. Everyone was shocked by the Suji Worldwide Commerce's wealth. Shi Sen and the rest's hearts turned cold. All of them revealed bitter smiles. They were still dreaming of being rich, but suddenly realized that they could not even afford a warship. Because of Bai Xiao, Tang Tian and the rest enjoyed the treatment of White Sands Hotel's VIP guests. The hotel provided excellent service, and a manager acted as their guide. The manager said, "This depends on the grade. Warships start at 5 billion, warships start at 20 billion, and there is no upper limit. In the evaluation of similar products, to be able to enter the top 5, that is my shop's standard." The manager's tone was calm, but it revealed a sense of pride. Bang bang bang. Only Tang Tian was not shaken. He smiled happily. That's great. During the inspection, Su Jin, who had already counted them, said generously, a total of 106,8,048 billion, let's take it as 1 billion. Please wait a moment. The manager left in a hurry, and after a moment, a middle-aged man dressed in blue came to Tang Tian's shop and cupped his fists. I am Su Jin, my shop's shopkeeper. May I ask who wants to sell Empyrean ice tree spears? The large VIP lounge immediately quietened down. The 10 bundles of Empyrean ice tree spears took up more than half of the room. Under the light, the pure and translucent Empyrean ice tree spears looked like blue gemstones, causing people to be dazzled. 8 million cloud coins for one. Tang Tian said. Medical treatment? Tang Tian was surprised. Shi Sen and the rest looked at the endless store, and all of them took in cold breaths. Regardless of anything, he wanted to buy a warship. The VIP lounge immediately quietened down. Everyone was stunned by the bundle of Empyrean ice tree spears. The manager revealed looks of shock. Crazy Tang did not forget that the most important mission of this trip was to run a business. In the future, the Sword Forest stronghold would definitely produce black gold, and finding a market was their most urgent mission. The other 2 matters were to purchase a report on the rise of the Honorable Martial Continent, and the other was to purchase warships. Bring us to take a look. Tang Tian said loudly. All 3 matters were extremely important. I wonder how many there are? Su Jin asked. He carefully checked through them, afraid that he might miss something. After a long while, he stood up and exhaled. I wonder how much you are willing to sell all these Empyrean ice tree spears for? Tang Tian raised his hand. You are not satisfied with the price? Su Jin was surprised. Only 1 billion? Tang Tian was dissatisfied. It was still far from a warship. All right. The manager was extremely professional. He did not ask why. The customers that came here were all wealthy, and their tempers were often eccentric, and they were long used to it. Tang Tian did not mind, but asked, Do you buy weapons here? His face became even more respectful, and he brought Tang Tian and his group towards the Suji Worldwide Commerce. The Suji Worldwide Commerce was at the center of the entire street. The size of the shop made the other trading companies pale in comparison. Many. Tang Tian said. Seeing the string of zeros that made people dizzy, Tang Tian suddenly thought of a terrible question. May I ask, how much is a warship? Chapter 600. Su Jin gave a time limit. 3 days. Tang Tian nodded repeatedly at Su Jin's words. With so much money, how many armies can we build? The hotel manager's expression changed drastically. Soul research. This is a bottomless pit with no hope. This Suji Worldwide Commerce's Silver VIP card is a small token of my appreciation. With this card, you can enjoy a 5% discount at any of the Suji Worldwide Commerce's stores. You can also use this card to withdraw up to 100 million from any of the Suji Worldwide Commerce's stores. He had to rope in such a potential customer. That's right, the Honorable Martial Continent succeeded, but how many people are learning from them? Who else succeeded? Not one. This is a bottomless pit. No amount of money is enough to fill it. The hotel manager's attitude was fierce. No problem, Su Jin agreed. Richard said non-committally, my research isn't cheap. But the Empyrean ice tree spears, as the only customer that could provide such a large amount of Empyrean ice tree spears, Tang Tian had displayed immense potential and was worth Su Jin to rope in. Tang Tian also understood, wasn't this a weapon that was naturally suitable for Shursen and his underworld continent's demonic mounts? Stop bragging. Do you know how expensive things related to souls are? The hotel manager retorted sarcastically, tens of billions of dollars spent on soul research are as many as the hairs on an ox. Richard felt a little guilty, but when he thought of his son, he threw caution to the wind. He's researching souls. All right. Su Jin was not unhappy with Shursen's interruption. Heaven-binding ghost blade, a silver rank warship weapon. Its furthest attack range is 15,000 meters. For a single person to control it, it needs to be at least a silver saint. If it was controlled by multiple people, it would require more than 20 martial artists who were proficient in saber arts. Its energy load was not high, but it had a high requirement for the synchronization rate. If the synchronization rate was lower than 70%, it could not be used. When the synchronization rate reached above 75%, it would reach its standard power. Every time the synchronization rate increases, its power will increase significantly. He thought about the Shang continent's estuary. It was pitifully small, and immediately said, the warship body needs to be narrow, but its firepower needs to be ferocious, its operation needs to be simple, and it needs to be nimble. I'll buy it. Tang Tian waved his hand. When they heard the same voices around them, they realized that everyone was feeling the same. The speed at which he earned money was fast enough, and the speed at which he spent money was also not inferior. But Tang Tian agreed. But Tang Tian suddenly interrupted. He's researching souls? This was the first silver VIP card he had seen. The moment Su Jin heard Tang Tian's words, he knew that he was a rookie, but he did not try to fool him just because he had no experience. On the contrary, he gave a pertinent suggestion. There's no such thing as the best warship. Due to their different uses, they each have their own strengths. For example, some battleships pursued speed, some pursued firepower, and some pursued defense. There was no difference between them. Mr. Meng, why don't you tell me your specific requirements? I can give you some suggestions. Tang Tian said, then I'll come back in 3 days to get the warship. I'll have the results by then. Su Jin lowered his head and calculated. Adding it all up, it's a total of 3 billion. After the discount, it's 62 billion. The remaining 5 million will be erased. How long will it take? Tang Tian asked. The entire underworld continent's demonic mounts had 500 men, 12 of them, just enough to rotate. In truth, with Tang Tian's standards, it was not enough to obtain the silver VIP card. The silver VIP card required a minimum spending of 100 billion. Ignoring the fact that Tang Tian had not spent it, even if he did, it would only be 90 billion, which was still a bit away from the minimum. Please speak. The hotel manager said. The hotel manager was completely smashed by happiness. He did not receive the 5% commission, because he had already reached the maximum, 20 million. Su Jin was overjoyed. The 90 billion that he had just taken out was about to return back to his shop. What could make him happier than that? He laughed. What kind of warship does Mr. Meng need? I want to buy a warship. Tang Tian said loudly. No problem. I recommend the Black Arrow series of warships. It is a silver-grade small-scale warship, its widest point is 60 m, its length is 60 m, its speed and agility, in the same type of warships, can be ranked in the top 3. The hull is made from black mist wood, which is extremely sturdy and has outstanding stealth capabilities. Its energy barrier is not considered strong, with a thickness of 2 m, but with its unique illusion form, it can change the shape of the energy barrier, allowing the warship to gain even more outstanding agility. In terms of firepower, it is also outstanding with 3 silver-grade main cannons, its might is powerful. 6 silver-grade honeycomb sword cannons, 3 silver-grade star conglomerate spears, and 6 heaven-binding ghost blades. The black metal in his hands was extremely sturdy, and his experience told him that it was an outstanding metal material. Meng Nan had many good things in his hands, causing Su Jin to be surprised. I'll sponsor it, Tang Tian said straightforwardly. No problem. Su Jin agreed. This modification is very simple and only requires 2 days to complete. Other than that, I suggest adding a set of rainbow eyes. It can see through the majority of stealth and camouflage and is one of the top products of the same grade. As for Bronze Saints, we need 15 people, and the energy consumption is very small. Su Jin continued, we will accept the materials, but as for the properties of the materials, we will need to do a detailed analysis before we can give a conclusion. He knew about the limit in the past, but he never thought that he would encounter one. He took out a piece of black gold and threw it to Su Jin. You guys accept the materials, what do you think of this material? I want the best warship, Tang Tian said without hesitation. 11 bundles, 90 billion. The White Sands Academy was the largest and strongest academy in the White Sands continent. The hotel manager used his connections to the maximum and brought Tang Tian and the rest to the White Sands Academy. Shursun suddenly interrupted, please introduce the heaven-binding ghost blade. Shursun sucked in a breath of cold air. A warship actually cost 62 billion. The room became quiet. Tang Tian immediately paid up, and other than that, medicines and all the equipment on the shelves, he bought one. When the time comes, he would throw it to Sai Lei to research, but it was a pity that the warship was too big. If not, he could get one for Sai Lei to research. At that time, if he could build a warship himself, how great would that be? In the end, the total amount reached 83 billion. But someone succeeded. Richard retorted. Please believe in our sincerity. The hotel manager was confident. He knew that the person behind him had over 7 billion in his hands. No other report would be so expensive. Richard stuck out his neck. Unless you guys sponsor it, I will not give it to you. It's like this, my son, I have an extremely good project and currently needs a sponsor. If you guys are willing to sponsor this project, I am willing to give this report to you. Of course, as a sponsor, you guys will be rewarded, Richard said. Walking out of the Suji Worldwide Commerce, the cold wind outside caused Shursun to be more awake. He had just witnessed a transaction of over 10 billion and was in an extremely excited state. Only then did he completely wake up and could not help but exhale. Seeing that Tang Tian seemed to be interested, Richard's spirit was roused. We have already found the crux. We only need a certain amount of funds, and after a few experiments, we will succeed. The hotel manager looked at the silver VIP card in Su Jin's hand with envy. The Suji Worldwide Commerce's VIP card was extremely difficult to obtain, and it was not something that could be obtained with money. Prestige, reputation, etc. were all factors that needed to be considered. We need to increase the number of heaven-binding ghost blades. Tang Tian thought for a moment. Let's increase it to 12. Tang Tian's motive for doing business was to experience the first-rate equipment, and he could feel that their equipment had a lot of room for improvement. But he knew how important a stable income was to the Sword Forest stronghold. The Empyrean ice tree spears were worth a lot of money, but there would be a day when they would be sold out. In truth, after selling 11 bundles, he only had 15 left. He still had to wait for the black gold ingots, and after buying the warships, there was only one thing left, which was the research report regarding the rise of the Honorable Martial Continent. I want it in stock, Tang Tian said. Richard looked at the group of people in front of him curiously and was surprised. You guys want to buy the Honorable Martial Continent's research report? Su Jin said, small-scale warships, narrow bodies, firepower and agility, and easy to operate. Do you want it in stock or do you need to order it? It will take a longer time to order it, but the requirements will be more in line with your wishes. Even for Su Jin, it was rare for him to encounter such a high price, but after the initial shock, he became extremely decisive. If it were any other weapons, he would be worried about whether it was worth it or not, but the Empyrean Ice Tree Spears were definitely not a problem. 11 bundles of Empyrean Ice Tree Spears only amounted to 10,000 of them. Everyone was stunned by Tang Tian's extravagance. He had just earned 90 billion and had to spend 83 billion. After witnessing the power of warships, Tang Tian had long decided that no matter what, he had to get a good warship. He had never planned to save money on such a thing. Yes. The hotel manager replied respectfully, we have heard that you are an authority in this field, and we have specially come here, hoping to obtain your help. Of course, we are willing to pay a corresponding price. Impossible. The hotel manager roared. Hearing that Tang Tian was interested in the rise of the Honorable Martial Continent, the local hotel manager immediately patted his chest and said that he knew where to find it. Everyone could not help but smile. All of their eyes flashed with a light aura of hope, their future lives, their future battles. It truly made them look forward to it. He was not dissatisfied. 20 million? How many years would he need to earn that amount? It was like a meat pie falling from the sky, to become rich overnight. With the Suji Worldwide Commerce's enormous sales network, throwing over 10,000 Empyrean Ice Tree Spears in would not be a problem. And what made him excited was that when the Empyrean Ice Tree Spears appeared on the Suji Worldwide Commerce's shelves, it would cause a huge commotion. Richard immediately realized that he had met a tycoon, and his attitude quickly became passionate. Please sit, I can give you the report for free, but I have a small request. What project? The hotel manager was astute. Upon hearing that, he immediately understood that it was not a good project. If not, why was there no one sponsoring it? How could an ordinary person raise a fleet? A customer with 90 billion cloud coins had the qualifications to enjoy the Suji Worldwide Commerce's VIP treatment. Chapter 601. Richard secretly guessed Tang Tian's background. Silence, a deathly silence. 1 billion. Tang Tian interrupted him. Seeing that Richard still wanted to shake his head, he added, increase your son's budget by 1 billion. The Honorable Martial Continent has used many methods to deal with them in the dark, and for hundreds of years, they have continuously attacked them. These things are not known to anyone, but I found them in an old diary when I was researching about the underworld. As researchers, we will always come into contact with some strange things. So, I suspect that the Honorable Martial Continent's reason for dealing with the 13 families is because of this disappearance. I am thinking, what is the reason for the Honorable Martial Continent to persevere in attacking these families? Take note, it is an attack with destruction as its goal. Then there is only one possibility: the 13 families that the Honorable Martial Continent has acknowledged as their masters might pose a threat to them. To be able to persevere when everyone else had failed, it was either stupid or courageous. Richard suddenly sensed that something was amiss. He was about to be dragged into a whirlpool. He knew better than anyone else how deep the waters were. He tried to evade. Hey, I am just a teacher in an academy. This is just my research topic. Then we will raise this place to the ground. Tang Tian completely lost his patience, his killing intent surging. The Honorable Martial Continent was like a mountain that pressed down on Tang Tian's heart, and with the urgency of time, Tang Tian's pressure increased by the day. Tang Tian naturally knew why the Honorable Martial Continent would attack the 13 families. The 12 Ecliptic Palaces and Onyx Soul were the most hated enemies of the Honorable Martial Alliance and Temple. Seeing that Tang Tian was listening attentively, Richard became even more excited. When I was researching the history of the Honorable Martial Continent's rise, I realized that they rarely leave the Western continent and directly attack the families of other continents. And these 13 families are the targets that they are using all their strength to deal with. I am curious why the Honorable Marshall Continent is trying so hard to deal with them. Then, while I was researching their family history, I discovered something interesting. These 13 families, in the distant ancient times, appeared at the same time in a missing person incident. This is the only thing that the 13 families are related to. From the start, the Honorable Marshall Continent had the intention of conquering Heaven's Road. "Sir, can I persuade him?" the hotel manager asked weakly. The current Honorable Marshall Continent was the most representative powerhouse of the Western region. The 13 families, I gave them the name, the 13 families that suffered under the Honorable Marshall Continent. Richard shrugged his shoulders. There are many families that have suffered attacks from the Honorable Marshall Continent, and in a few hundred years, they have directly swallowed up more than 500 continents. On average, they would annex a continent every year. This was only direct annexation. The number of indirect annexations was even higher. However, these 13 clans are not in the Western continent, but in the southern domain. Richard hesitated. He was struggling internally. But, also, do you know how to negotiate? Don't you know how to quote a price? Don't you know how to beat around the bush? Xianxia, who was at the side, did not feel envious. Instead, he stared coldly at Richard. As long as His Excellency gave the order, he would not hesitate to pounce forward and break this fellow's neck. The hotel manager stared blankly at Tang Tian. 2 billion, that was 2 billion. Why didn't he study hard back then? Why did I not research the Honorable Marshall Continent? Why? They praised the Honorable Marshall Continent's team spirit and thought that although they did not have any leaders, but their outstanding teamwork had pushed them to unprecedented heights. The hotel manager was filled with envy towards Richard. Richard's face turned pale white. If I can find the 13 families, they will be my natural allies. No problem. Tang Tian was overjoyed. We are also very powerful. 2 billion. After witnessing the power of the warships, Tang Tian was clear that Heaven's Road's armies were definitely unable to defend against the armies of the Sacred Saint Galaxy, as both parties were not on the same level. Once Richard made his decision, his actions were decisive. He immediately resigned from his job. When he returned to the hotel, he had another young man by his side, Little Richard. When Little Richard heard that Tang Tian was willing to sponsor him to conduct research on spirits, he did not have any doubts. And when Tang Tian threw him a star treasure, it immediately attracted Little Richard's attention, causing him to be in a daze the entire way. After signing the sponsorship agreement and paying the first 200 million cloud coins, Richard's heart finally calmed down. In truth, he did not approve of his son's decision, but who asked him to be his son? To be able to help his son was Richard's greatest consolation. Xianxia and the rest immediately surrounded Richard. The hotel manager took the card and looked at the numbers on it, and almost fainted. 100 million cloud coins. Regardless of whether he was foolish or brave, Tang Tian felt that it was good. He was that kind of person. The other party was right. The Honorable Marshall Continent had risen in the past few hundred years, and compared to the Gold Continent, which had over 10,000 years of history and tradition, they were the newest upstarts. But in the world, it was not based on experience and history. Strength was the cruelest standard. Tang Tian took the report, sat down and started to read it carefully. This is a research report on the Honorable Marshall Continent. In the entire Sacred Saint Galaxy, no one is more authoritative than me. No one understands the Honorable Marshall Continent better than me. What are you guys trying to do? This is the White Sands Academy. If you guys dare to make a move here, the White Sands Academy will definitely not let you go. Richard bellowed. After a long while, Richard raised his head, his face still pale white. I can promise you, but you have to guarantee my son's safety. Tang Tian was extremely satisfied with the day's harvest, but he knew that it was just the beginning. If the report was made public, then the Honorable Marshall Continent would definitely kill him. His understanding of the Honorable Marshall Continent's way of doing things far surpassed anyone else. Although the hotel manager found it hard to understand Tang Tian's choice, but he understood the tyrant. The tyrants in the world were all weird. When a person became a tyrant, he would naturally become weird. Maybe it was a hobby, or maybe there was something that the tyrant was interested in, but in short, he could do whatever he wanted. Following a tyrant was much more promising than being a hotel manager. Just the income from the day was enough for him to not have to worry about his future. Tang Tian turned and praised the hotel manager. "You're not bad, this is your reward. I am lacking a representative in the White Sands Academy. Are you interested?" Tang Tian suddenly asked. He felt that the hotel manager was very smart and reliable. "There are a few others," Richard said. "This is the southern region. No matter how strong the honorable martial continent is, they cannot reach here. They can only spend money to hire people to do it, but no one will allow the underworld forces to go overboard. It is a challenge to the order. The tyrants of the southern region's aristocratic families will not allow it. And the underworld forces are smarter than anyone else. They are not willing to bring about a disaster for money. I want to find them. What can I do?" Tang Tian asked directly. "You think you can be so arrogant just because you have some money? All right, you can." Suddenly he noticed a piece of content. The entire western region was enveloped by the honorable martial continent's dazzling light aura. The honorable martial continent had already become one of the top tyrants of the sacred Saint Galaxy, and its rise was a history of annexation. Many people called this characteristic of the honorable martial continent as undercurrent-style advancement. 13 families? Can you tell me about it? Tang Tian asked. The sacred Saint Galaxy had tens of thousands of continents, and the western region had the most, with over 4,000 continents of various sizes, but now there were only 2,000 of them. In the past few hundred years, the honorable martial continent continued to strengthen and annex. From a middle-grade continent in the western region, they quickly became the tyrant of the western region, and then became the top tyrant of the entire sacred Saint Galaxy. But now, another person who was able to absorb the advantages of both worlds had appeared, and that was Tang Tian. Furthermore, the honorable martial continent did not know that Tang Tian was already in the sacred Saint Galaxy. Tang Tian interrupted him. "Are the 13 families still around?" But time was not on Tang Tian's side. "I'll give you 2 minutes," Tang Tian said coldly. At that moment, Richard no longer had any suspicions towards Tang Tian. The treasures with spirits were extremely expensive. Tang Tian actually casually gave one to Richard, as though it was an ordinary object. Seeing that, Tang Tian already understood what was going on. The reason why the honorable martial continent was able to successfully research on spirits was because they had the honorable martial alliance and temple, and were able to absorb the advantages of both worlds. Richard's tone of voice was extremely arrogant, with his nose pointing to the sky. The hotel manager's face changed. They were in the White Sands Academy. If a murder were to happen here, then he, the person who pulled the strings, would definitely not be able to escape. "No, I have to stop this." What was even more surprising was that in the hundreds of years of the honorable martial continent's rise, there had not been any outstanding geniuses. They had quietly improved on their martial techniques of the honorable martial continent, they had quietly conducted research on spirits, they had quietly formed the honorable martial army, and had quietly annexed other continents. Swoosh, everyone's eyes landed on him. This was something that Tang Tian would never allow. Heaven's Road was his home, and he could not allow it to be trampled on. He had decided to go to Three Spirits City later, and let the Ursa Major constellation join the battle against the Honorable Martial Alliance. The Honorable Martial Alliance and Temple were the Honorable Martial Continent's claws and teeth. 500 million. Tang Tian stared at Richard. There are so many secrets and information, it is not something that an ordinary teacher can obtain. This subordinate is willing. If boss has any errands for me, Hansen will go through water and tread on fire without hesitation. He said without hesitation. The hotel manager spoke quickly. "Professor, I do not understand why you are rejecting it. Are you afraid of being implicated? Is this report not enough? You have already found out the Honorable Martial Continent's secret. As long as we publicize this report, the Honorable Martial Continent will definitely not let you go. Do you think that you can contend against the Honorable Martial Continent? They cannot destroy the 13 families, but they can easily buy your life with money. Oh, and that includes your son. That is just research, and many of those things were dug out from piles of waste paper. Richard shook his head like a rattle drum. There was no time for Tang Tian to slowly develop. Once the star door was opened, the honorable Martial Continent's armies would enter Heaven's Road, and that would definitely be a disaster. Hearing that, Tang Tian understood the 12 ecliptic palaces and onyx soul. It was so crude that it made people's hair stand on end. Tang Tian was never a person who won people over with virtue. He stared at Richard and shouted, "Sure Sen." Chapter 602. That's right. Such a good blade, in the hands of an old man, it is such a waste. Why not give it to us? We can still display its might. Everyone subconsciously held their breaths. They had a premonition that the following attack would definitely be earth-shattering. The remaining 3 gathered all of their strength and prepared to withstand the next attack. In the blink of an eye, there were only 3 people left. The aura of the 11 of them were one, without any flaws, like a raging wave, each wave stronger than the one before, each wave higher than the one before. The short-haired man was surrounded by a group of swift and fierce-looking companions. All of them had sharp expressions, revealing a fierce glint. Dangerous. Everyone was in disbelief. Ah Sang was the most ferocious person out of all of them, and was never afraid of the heavens or the earth, but he was actually afraid because of the danger? Everyone looked at Sher Sen and the rest as though they had seen a ghost. The moment when all of the aura disappeared, it completely went against common sense. The fist that was already filled with power, how could it suddenly let go? On the contrary, the light aura around Sher Sen and the rest became extremely gentle. Even the last 3 people had faces of shame. Sher Sen's face revealed a look of disdain. Han Sen's treacherous official appearance made him extremely disgusted. Anyone else want to come out? Sher Sen said indifferently. No more. Someone shouted from below, followed by chuckles. The underworld continent's demonic mounts behind Sher Sen slowly raised the black wind blade in their hands. That's possible. One look and I can tell he's a fool with too much money. I'm going up. But the good thing was that they had already found their target, and the enemy did not know of their existence. This gave them an advantage. Other than the fact that they were pressed for time, Tang Tian felt that their chances of winning were still very high. It was truly a disgrace to be on the same side as such a person with no backbone. The remaining 14 people were bitterly holding on, all of them clenched their teeth, veins popping out, the energy in their bodies being pushed to the limit, all of their bodies enveloped with a thick light aura. Sher Sen's expression was calm. To be able to persevere for 30 seconds, you pass. Everyone was shocked. The synchronization rate definitely exceeded 80%. What made them even more afraid was that out of the 11 people, not a single one of them had unsheathed their blades. The current Qin continent's tyrannical mounts were renowned in the sacred Saint Galaxy and were publicly acknowledged as one of the top 10 elite troops. As he finished speaking, he took a step forward. The 10 people behind him bent their bodies slightly at the same time. They held onto their swords and took a step forward. With just one step, their lights merged into one. Without any warning, the aura that had soared to the limit and was on the verge of exploding suddenly disappeared without a trace. The 3 people who were still standing in the field spat out a mouthful of blood at the same time and collapsed to the ground. Sher Sen's lips curled into a smile. However, that smile did not contain any warmth. It was as cold as ice. The mockery of these people just now had long made his stomach full of fire. The crowd roared with laughter. He called out to his companions behind him and left. His voice wasn't loud, but in the dead silence, everyone could hear him. Ah Sang's intuition was the strongest out of all of them. With this, he had saved their fates on the battlefield several times. They trusted Ah Sang's intuition deeply. Time jumped to 26 seconds. More than half of the people laughed and stood up, while the others watched the show with a look of anticipation. In the past, the reputation of the underworld continent's demonic mounts was already bad, and only amateurs who did not know anything would choose the underworld continent's demonic mounts. Sher Sen casually shouted, 7, 9. His confidence did not come from nowhere. Along the way, they had already defeated many strong opponents. Towards strong opponents, Tang Tian was never the least bit afraid. His right hand similarly held onto Evening Snow Ocean's blade hilt, and his aura suddenly soared. Before they left, a few of the Qin continent's tyrannical mounts did not conceal their hostility towards Shursen and the rest. Who is that guy? Underworld continent's demonic mounts? The lady in charge of receiving them nodded her head. Yes, Region D, please follow me. Your blade is not bad. The short-haired man glanced at Evening Snow Ocean in Shursen's hands, and continued, if we meet in the battlefield in the future, I will not hold back just because you are old. Let's go, uncles, you should leave early. Tang Tian did not stay in the hotel either. Everyone, keep a low profile for the next few days. There have been many experts recently, so don't cause any trouble. Humph, it is their fortune that we have taken a fancy to his blade. A group of old men who are so old that they can barely walk, do not have the qualifications to own such a good blade. But upon stepping into the mercenary center, his expression became serious. What made him even more unhappy was that because the two of them had the word Sin in their names, the boss called him Sin and called Han Sin Air Senator Bang. Compared to the other party, they were truly a motley crew. Underworld continent's demonic mounts? Ha, here comes a rookie. But the light auras of the 10 of them merged into one. Everyone could not believe their ears. The last 3 who persevered were all injured because of this formless attack. It's normal to not recognize him. Young Miss Qin Yu Ran is here. How many people have come here? I reckon he is here for young Miss Qin Yu Ran. It's good to be a rookie, easy to trick. Who knows, he might even open his business today. Shursen's mouth suddenly revealed a ridiculing smile, and the 10 people behind him also revealed ridiculing smiles. A group of people walked out of the mercenary center, and one of them asked, Sang, why aren't we taking action? That blade is truly strong, although it has not been unsheathed, but I can feel that it is very strong. The light aura in his eyes became colder, and the Evening Snow Ocean in his hand was slowly raised. Applause came out from behind. It was a short-haired man, who was praising, I never thought that I would be able to see the real Underworld continent's demonic mounts. You truly have some talent. But, a pity, all of you are old and are not our opponents. You will not be able to see the Underworld continent's demonic mounts at their peak. If not, you would have the qualifications to spar with our Qin continent's tyrannical mounts. May I ask what you need? A lady came forward with a face full of smiles. Energy surged frantically around Shursen and the rest. One after another of dazzling light scars rose up like a whirlwind. Everyone looked at each other. They did not suspect that Sang was hallucinating. Tang Tian had long handed the task of selecting the Underworld continent's demonic mounts to Shursen, and Tang Tian was curious as to how Shursen would select the real Underworld continent's demonic mounts from the group of people. Initially, Shursen had planned to head to the Underworld continent to recruit, but they were lacking in manpower, so he suggested to try his luck at the city's mercenary center. A motley crew, this ear-piercing word entered everyone's ears, but all of them who had bad tempers and would fight with just a word of disagreement, were all standing there in a daze. Master, this is White Sands City's largest mercenary center. All of the nearby mercenaries with decent standards will all come here to look for work. There are many trading companies in White Sands City, and there are also many caravans, so we often need to replenish our manpower. There are even some rich landlords nearby who will come because of its reputation. Han Sen's lackey was extremely flattering. If they are able to catch your eye, then they are truly blessed from their past lives. One after another, figures flew out. They fiercely smashed into the wall. 2 of them even suffered light injuries, blood seeping out from the corner of their mouths. All of them had faces of shock. Sang listened to everyone's discussion, but was thinking back to the scene just now. He could not understand why the seemingly ordinary young man would give him such a dangerous feeling. Bang bang. Underworld continent's demonic mounts. Have you guys seen the real Underworld continent's demonic mounts? The enemy is stronger than you think. Who exactly is he? Sang's expression congealed. He spoke while walking. You guys did not notice the young man behind the old man. He is very dangerous. The last two words came out from Shursen's mouth. He did not hesitate to cover his face that was filled with disdain and spat out the words, a motley crew. The Qing continent's tyrannical mounts were currently the most elite soldiers, and in the past 2 years of small and big battles, their figures could be seen everywhere. They were extremely impactful and valiant, and they had absorbed the mistakes made by the underworld continent's demonic mounts in the past. The Qing continent's management of the tyrannical mounts was extremely strict, and upon discovering any impostors, they would chase and kill them. Shursen's expression remained the same, only the cold intent in his eyes became even more biting cold. The last time when he withdrew all of his power was the true transformation, and was a strike that surpassed everyone's imagination. This Mr. wishes to recruit underworld continent's demonic mounts. Those who fit the criteria, please step forward and accept the interview. The lady said loudly. 230. Ah Sang's eyes had a trace of lingering fear. When I noticed the blade in the old man's hand, the young man looked at me, and at that time, all of the hairs on my body stood up. That guy just looked at me casually. There were only 20 people left who were able to persevere and not move. 18, 19. Bang! The competition was extremely intense. It was as though the scene where they were on the verge of exploding was an illusion. The aura he emitted became more and more astonishing, and the energy in the room became more and more active. Many people realized that the energy in their bodies was showing signs of losing control. Richard found Tang Tian and asked for a sum of money, then left. Another 6 people could not hold on any longer and retreated backwards. 3 of them felt their legs go soft and fell on their butts. At that moment, no one was laughing at them. Everyone looked at Shursen and the rest in fear. Is he still Ah Sang? Qing continent's tyrannical mounts? Shursen squinted his eyes. Shursen asked, are there any underworld continent's demonic mounts? A group of people started talking. All of them did not understand. Ah Sang was not someone who was easy to talk to. And at that moment, the evening snow ocean in Shursen's hand had already reached its highest point. His aura had also reached its peak, like a reservoir that was filled to the brim. I'll go too. An astonishing aura exploded out without any warning. The surging killing intent caused the temperature in the room to drop below 0 degrees. Being caught off guard, a majority of the saints felt as though their chests were struck by a heavy blow. They retreated 7 to 8 steps, before stopping with faces full of shock. Following behind the lady, a group of people arrived at Area D. Area D was filled with mercenaries waiting to be selected. Most of them came from poor and destitute areas. Other than killing people, they did not have any other abilities. They who did not have any life skills could only wait here every day, waiting to be selected. Chapter 603. Second Uncle, I can buy an Empyrean ice tree spear. Bai Xiao suddenly said. The deputy looked at Lien Bo Jun hesitantly. Boss, the other side is very angry with our actions. They think that we broke the agreement and did not keep our word. What? You were attacked by pirates? It was a pirate fleet. Oh my God. There are actually pirates in the sea near our White Sands continent. A beautiful lady used a feather fan to cover her mouth, her face filled with fear. Bai Yu suddenly stood up. That's right. Bai Yu nodded his head. I'll give you another 1 billion, that should be enough. That thing is not bad, and it's also good for keeping its value. It's also good to please your mentor. Didn't he come up with the blue poison project back then? It's because there aren't enough Empyrean ice tree spears. To be able to do this, they were worthy of being called elites. What do you think? Think about it? Bai Yu winked. Your kindness and benevolence are as precious as gold. At this time, it has proven that you were right. Another beautiful woman praised. After more than 10 minutes, he finally reacted. He stumbled and ran out with a pale face. He wanted to report this incomparably important discovery to his master. A woman could exchange for an entire fleet. Was this woman made of gold? Even gold wasn't worth that much. The deputy grinned like a bandit. Ha, that's how I answered them. What kind of rubbish is this? How dare you point your fingers at us? Are you tired of living? A fleet? The deputy stuttered, his face blank. Not enough. Bai Xiao shook her head. Bai Xiao looked at Bai Yu in shock, and was speechless for a moment. Ning Hai was leisurely drinking tea and eating snacks. It would take half a day for the results to come out. There's no mistake. Bai Xiao tried to curry favor with him. Second uncle, give it to me first. I have already informed my teacher about the news, and asked my family to send money over. Bai Xiao had a face of helplessness. Second uncle, what are you thinking about? Although I admire you, Ran, but there are no romantic feelings between us. I'm borrowing money from you for something else. Bai Xiao ignored him and continued. The Empyrean ice tree spear was bought from him. But I didn't have enough money, so I only bought 100 of them. 2 billion, this should be enough. I am going to die of poverty. Bai Yu said helplessly. 46 people had to control a honeycomb sword cannon and a beheading light machine to repel a group of pirates. It was obvious that it required an extremely high frequency of attacks. Ning Hai casually picked up the report, but after a few glances, he suddenly jumped up and said incoherently, How is this possible? How is this possible? Did he make a mistake today? He pulled at his hair in agony, which meant that he needed to do it all over again. This was the Suji worldwide commerce, and the requirements were extremely strict. If the boss knew that he had made such a big mistake in his work, then he wouldn't be able to continue working. Where did they go after that? Lien Bo-jun continued to ask. Ning Hai was White Sands Suji worldwide commerce's most famous material appraiser, and was in charge of valuing materials. This was a job that many people were jealous of. The salary was high, and the work was quite easy. Are they very powerful? Salad. Lien Bo-jun did not even raise his head. Were they? Bai Yu became excited. I want to see them. The noblewomen sitting in a circle were all shocked at this moment. His second uncle Bai Yu was his idol when he was young, becoming the commander of an army at the age of 16. Such qualifications in any continent would cause people to be dumbstruck. In the 20 years after that, he had defeated many strong enemies, and became the #1 military general of the Bai family, and was the true authoritative figure of the Bai family. Seems like it was an accident. Lien Bo-jun said, the battlefield was always filled with accidents. Furthermore, they were a group of pirates, which meant even more. Everyone started to talk, but luckily Qin Yu Ran was familiar with it, and could handle it easily. Second uncle, you really don't care about me. Bai Xiao grumbled, but his face did not show any dissatisfaction. It was a luxurious manner. I'll let them be angry. Lien Bo-jun did not even raise his head. We are pirates. Do pirates need to be trustworthy? Borrow money. Bai Yu's killing intent sword. We definitely cannot let this batch of Empyrean ice tree spears land in other people's hands. That old man's luck is truly good. This time he got lucky. I hope he can truly research out the Empyrean ice tree. Not enough. Bai Xiao shook his head firmly. On top of it was a pile of dazzling data, which could only be seen from the most despicable metal aristocratic families. Elites. At the other corner of the hall, Bai Xiao and a middle-aged man were holding wine cups, chatting happily. 40-odd people. Lien Bo-jun muttered, it matched. Seems like the other party most likely has an outstanding military general, using a high synchronization rate, to allow 40-odd people to bear the energy burden at the same time. When I heard that you guys met with pirates, I was shocked. The middle-aged man laughed. But after thinking about it, with your strength, no matter how bad you are, you will still be able to escape, so I was not anxious. What? Lacking money? Bai Yu glanced at Qin Yu Ran, and ridiculed. Did you spend all your money chasing after girls? But, Xiao Bai, if you are able to hug the beauty, second uncle will definitely support you from home. As for your father, I will go and persuade him. How about that? If you don't dare, then you are admitting defeat. He had come to White Sands continent for business, and did not expect to meet his nephew. How long can Miss Yu Ran stay in White Sands this time? When the evening sun appeared outside the window, the evaluation report for the black gold ingot had already been completed. Sitting down at the table, he noticed the metal ingot on the table. It was a black metal ingot, smooth and smooth. He picked it up and was surprised. The metal ingot was much heavier than he had expected. This made him look forward to it, and from that, it could be seen that it was much denser. "Second uncle, can you lend me some money?" Bai Xiao asked with a shy face and came over. When the second report was in front of Ning Hai, he was completely dumbfounded. Oh my God! Time flew by quickly, and he took another nap. "How much does that guy have?" Bai Yu was dumbfounded. Su Ji Worldwide Commerce. Just as Ning Hai walked into the laboratory, a manager welcomed him. "Ning Hai, there is a metal ingot on your table. The boss wants you to do a comprehensive evaluation on it. You must be fast." On the second day, when the final result was out. "Boss, we checked it out." The assistant was extremely excited. "It's a group, they have 40-odd people, and the leader is a brat. Along the way, they met Qin Yu Ran on the ship. I heard that she was staying in the cargo hold, and met us. That's why they took action. I heard that the Bloodwood warships were sent to the Eternal Light shipyard to be repaired and maintained, and spent some money to bribe the people in the shipyard, and went up to take a look. A honeycomb sword cannon and slash machine were completely destroyed by them. It should be due to the overload, causing the machine to explode." Bai Yu laughed out loud. "Anyways, you're a cockroach, you won't die so easily." He threw his carefree thoughts to the back of his mind, and started to treat the evaluation seriously. He did not return at night, but stayed in the Su Ji Worldwide Commerce, and carefully repeated the experiment in the day, concentrating on it. "Then what do we do now?" The assistant asked blankly. Why did he not understand what the boss was talking about? But upon thinking about the fleet that slipped through his fingers, he sucked in a breath of cold air, his mouth twitching, his face showing pain. Really? Bai Yu was adept at fighting. He quickly calculated in his mind, and suddenly raised his head. "There's difficulty. Empyrean ice tree spears?" Bai Yu was startled. The smile on his face disappeared. "Empyrean ice tree spears? You want to borrow money to buy the Empyrean ice tree spears?" "Wait a minute." Bai Yu was startled. "You said there are over 100 deadly Empyrean ice tree spears? Are you kidding me? How can there be so many Empyrean ice tree spears?" "No matter what, I have to buy all of them," Bai Xiao added. "This group of pirates have a Black Dragon warship and 10 frigates." "Good." Ning Hai did not haggle, it was his job. "I also feel that it is impossible," Bai Xiao said, "but I saw it with my own eyes." The honeycomb sword cannon and slash machine were all destroyed. They were unable to withstand the energy load and broke. At that time, I was prepared to rush out and risk my life, but when I saw the spiraling slash that covered the sky, I was dumbstruck. "Yes," Bai Xiao said softly, "the pirates we met this time were repelled by them. 46 men, first a honeycomb sword cannon, suddenly a slash machine, and repelled the pirates." "Impossible." Bai Yu's gaze exploded, and he blurted out. "They parted ways with Bai Xiao and Qin Yu Ran, and their whereabouts are unknown." The adjutant continued, "The people close to Qin Yu Ran are not easy to bribe. How to evaluate a material's value had a set of mature procedures. As long as they followed the procedures, there would not be any problems." "Not lending." Bai Yu shook his head. "Not picking up girls, definitely not lending." "Really?" The smile on Bai Yu's face slowly disappeared. She knew that Big Brother Meng Nan and the rest did not want outsiders to know, so she spoke very vaguely. "Their schemes are too big." Lien Bojun said, "This time, we should not get too deep. A pity, Qin Yu Ran did not fall into our hands. If not, we could have earned a fleet. Furthermore, to be able to change the situation with just 40-odd men, such a team, if they were not elites, what were they? They have money." Lien Bojun did not have any expression, but a cold glint flashed past his eyes. "Qin Yu Ran is an indispensable part of their plan." "Really?" Bai Xiao did not hesitate. Bai Xiao simply spat out these 4 words. "Yes, the situation was very dangerous." Qin Yu Ran smiled. "But our luck was good, the merchants who boarded the ship gave us a lot of help. In the end, we managed to repel the pirates." Such a task was already extremely easy for Ning Hai. At least 1,000 of them. Bai Xiao was certain. "So many?" Bai Yu jumped in shock. Are you sure? Bai Xiao immediately pulled him back. Second uncle, where are you going? Second uncle, how can I be wrong? Did you forget who my teacher is? Bai Xiao retorted. Hey Xiao Bai, are you having a fever? Bai Yu extended his hand out to touch Bai Xiao's forehead, his face filled with disbelief. If you said 1 or 200 I would believe it, but you said 1,000? Ha, you definitely fell for it. Too naive young man. Only high-level blue dwarves will have Empyrean ice tree spears, and they will definitely not sell them. They are definitely lying to you. Chapter 604. What a weird way to fly. Pa. In the next moment, the figure of the person appeared again. The wooden houses that were painted in all sorts of colors, from the edge of the city, it extended far into the distance, forming a gigantic colorful maze. Every inch of land in White Sand City was worth its weight in gold, while the land outside of the city was much cheaper. To the sacred Saint Galaxy people who knew how to fly, such a distance was nothing. Gradually, it formed a business circle that was dominated by large businesses, while the outside of the city was dominated by small businesses. If you care about it, then you will do it. That is what a real man should do. If you say that you are not angry or magnanimous, you will be lying to yourself. Dense explosions sounded out. Tang Tian had shrunk into a ball, like a spring that was compressed to its limit. He strangely stopped in the air, as though there was an invisible wall in front of him. Young Miss Ling. Tang Tian did not care about it. He was extremely focused. It was his first time flying at such a high speed. Although his adaptive skill, standard had increased, but flying at such a high speed, adding the need to avoid other people, he needed to be 120% focused. If he was not careful, he would lose control of his body and fall. With Tang Tian's perverse body, it would definitely not be good. If he were to bump into someone else, he would definitely not have any problems, but if the other party was not able to raise their energy barrier in time, then he would lose his life. Almost without thinking, she hurriedly put up an energy barrier. The skinny man nodded his head. He did not say a word, his gaze landing on Tang Tian. Who is it to be so rude? Ling Xia had just come out from the groundsmaster's residence. Her face was still flushed with excitement. She had finally met young Miss Yu Ran, and even spoke a few words with her. She was still immersed in excitement. The passers-by on the road exclaimed, and all opened up a path. Young Miss Ling's temper was like her nickname. She hated evil, and was the big sister of White Sands. All of the young thugs in White Sands, upon seeing young Miss Ling, would tuck their tails between their legs, and become docile and obedient. Are these the real underworld continent's demonic mounts? Oh my God, to dare play with Big Sister, how fierce must he be? Such a good show, I definitely cannot miss it. How can there be such a person who can just turn around and leave? Ling Xia was startled and immediately became angry. Soon, Tang Tian noticed the woman chasing after him. He even turned around to look. After confirming that he didn't know her, he decided to ignore her. However, after a while, the other party was still behind him. Tang Tian frowned. He suddenly turned around and entered the alley between the wooden houses. Now, Tang Tian was a little surprised. If they collided head-on at such a high speed, the consequences would be, he bounced up from the ground. His unique ability immediately attracted the attention of the people in the sky. What was going on? Ling Xia increased her speed, and immediately 2 dazzling lines of fire lit up beside her, revolving around her body. Hansen patted his chest in a fawning manner. I will definitely do it well. Shursen thought about it and agreed. With master strength, he was not someone that anyone could casually make a move against. He solemnly bowed to Tang Tian. Master, I shall set off now. Walking out of the mercenary center, Shursen's expression was normal, but his heart was stifling with anger. He was secretly determined to rebuild the reputation of the underworld continent's demonic mounts. The yellow hair once again injected energy, and repeated what he had said. Thinking about how she did not sense anyone approaching, Ling Xia became even angrier. Since when had she suffered such a loss in White Sand City? Snorting, Ling Xia suddenly increased her speed and rushed towards the other party. Master, This subordinate wishes to go to the underworld continent. Xianxia suddenly spoke up. Ling Xia's pupils constricted. She was shocked. How is that possible? And when the Qin continent's tyrannical mounts appeared and revealed Xianxia's true identity, the underworld continent's demonic mounts, everyone immediately became excited. The decline of the underworld continent's demonic mounts stemmed from the fact that fish and dragons mixed together, making it hard to differentiate between the real and the fake. The true underworld continent's demonic mount's strength had long become a mystery. An underworld continent's demonic mounts cost 2,500,000 of them, 1 billion, master handed over 1.5 billion cloud coins. With a burst of strength from his legs, Tang Tian shot out like an arrow, rushing towards Ling Xia. Area D was already filled with people, and in the corner, a few people were discussing softly. Xianxia was ecstatic. That's great. Ghost face mask. She did not have the time to react, and both parties clashed. Ling Xia, who was prepared to withstand the impact, did not feel any force at all. Han Xin immediately said, "If you want to go to the underworld continent, this subordinate knows a boss who specializes in doing business between the underworld continent and the White Sands continent. You can board his cargo ship, and with the fastest speed, you will only need 7 to 8 days to reach the underworld continent." Such a method of flying without any energy undulations was unheard of, and to be able to travel at such a fast speed, how could anyone not be shocked? It was not only Ling Xia. All of the silk pants who came to watch the commotion had their faces change, revealing expressions of fear. Such a high-speed collision, even with the protection of the energy barrier, they would definitely be injured. The other party's figure was like a shadow, rushing towards her at an astonishing speed. Ling Xia was originally flying at full speed, and could only watch as the other party rushed towards her. All sorts of exclamations and discussions were ignored by Tang Tian, and continued to increase his speed. A series of light explosions sounded out, like the sound of a bubble bursting, as Tang Tian increased his speed. Suddenly, Tang Tian felt an indescribable emotion. He took out his money card. "All right, be careful on the road." The entire White Sands silk pants world was in an uproar, and all of them came out in full force. Xianxia took the money card and said anxiously, "Master, I don't need so much." "Yes, Master," Xianxia replied. "The underworld continent is not far from the White Sands. If we are fast, we can reach there in 12 days, adding the recruitment time. Within a month, this subordinate will definitely be able to bring back 500 underworld continent demonic mounts." "Is he seeking death?" Her face changed. "Not good." With that, if Tang Tian still did not know that the other party was coming for him, then he would be too stupid. "So fast, big sister." And all the silk pants who were watching the battle from the sky, after a few seconds of silence, all of them exploded. "This place is not far from the hotel. We can just walk around and go back. You don't have to worry about me. Furthermore, it's not like I don't have the strength to protect myself." Tang Tian waved his hand and said without a care. Suddenly, a young man with dyed yellow hair swayed in the sky in boredom. Suddenly, his gaze was attracted by a flash of light. Han Xin brought Xianxia and his group and set off. Wait a minute. Ling Xia had displayed extremely strong talent since young, and was the most dazzling person among the youths of the White Sands. She had a straightforward temper, and was not calm enough, but she never pushed the blame away from her mistakes, and everyone was convinced, and quickly became the big sister of the younger generation in White Sands. Furthermore, she had the possibility of becoming the first female commander in the history of the White Sands continent. Tang Tian did not advise Xianxia to not be bothered, but how could he not be bothered? How could he not be bothered? Desen had already restrained himself. If it was him, he would definitely beat up the Qin continent tyrannical mounts. With a cold snort, Tang Tian used his waist as an axis, and flipped his body. His original head forward and feet back, became feet forward and head back. His legs moved at an astonishing speed, and stepped in the air. What made them feel even more inconceivable was that the other party did not use an energy barrier. This made many people disappointed. A man who dared to challenge their big sister must be a true man. Ling Xia's Ling family was not considered rich in White Sands, but it had a long history. The Ling family had a good reputation, and every generation of the Ling family patriarch had a noble character and was respected. After generations of accumulation, the Ling family became the most powerful family in White Sand City. When he saw the line of fire, he became excited. What? Racing with Big Sister? What the fuck? Who is so fierce? I'm coming. The confrontation between the Qin continent tyrannical mounts and the underworld continent's demonic mounts immediately ignited everyone's passion. Ling Xia suddenly realized that the other party's face revealed a look of delight, and even made a funny face at her. Many people could not help but become excited. Any legend would cause people's hearts to palpitate. The rise of the underworld continent's demonic mounts was filled with legends, and after witnessing Shursen's strength, everyone then understood that the real underworld continent's demonic mounts were actually so powerful. Shursen's eyes turned red, such a huge sum was the master's trust in him. After struggling for so many years, he had never experienced the trust of 1.5 billion. I didn't use any energy. Although the citizens were shocked, but they were not afraid of Ling Xia. The Ling family's teachings were strict, and since young, Big Sister Ling had always hated evil and had punished countless of silk pants, but to the ordinary citizens she was extremely kind. No worries, bring more money with you. If you have good qualities, you can recruit more. The precious Bright Village Regiment is still lacking many officers. Tang Tian said. Those floating in the air, densely packed, yet colorful little wooden houses, attracted Tang Tian's interest. One was an elite that was like the sun in the sky, the other was a glorious king in the past. When they clashed, sparks would definitely fly. But no one expected that the Qin continent's tyrannical mounts would actually turn and leave, without any intention to make a move. Is that a secret technique? He started to increase his speed and chase after the line of fire, but when he saw that there was another person in front of Big Sister, he became even more excited. A metal plate appeared in his hand, he injected energy into it and roared, "Hey, Ah Bin, quickly come to the north of the city, there's a good show. Big Sister is racing with someone else." Suddenly, a shadow flashed past her side, bringing with it a gale that blew her long hair into a mess. Everyone had the mood to watch the show. The distance between them quickly closed. Ling Xia recovered from the shock. She clenched her teeth and prepared to receive the attack. The distance between them was already less than 20 m, and she could clearly see the expression on the other party's face. In the blink of an eye, Tang Tian was left alone. The streets were filled with people, and the sky was extremely crowded. But because the city lord did not wish for the sky to be blocked, the sky above White Sand City was not allowed to have any structures. All of the structures in the sky were arranged outside the city. Shursen was worried. Then Master's safety? She, who was at a loss, rushed out and crashed into a wooden house. The wooden house suddenly lit up with an energy barrier. Ling Xia was stunned. The yellow hair had informed everyone he knew. Is he crazy? Bring them over, be careful on the road. Tang Tian instructed. Tang Tian said to Hansen, Ersen, bring them to find your friends, and then directly return to the hotel. Fiery flame. Are they here for us? The person who spoke was skinny, his voice was low and hoarse, his expression indifferent. I don't think so, they seem to be here to replenish their manpower. The green-robed man shook his head. Oh, they have already left. So it's the underworld continent's demonic mounts, no wonder. He was dressed in dark green robes, his expression was sinister. When he opened his eyes, a cold light shot out in all directions. In the mercenary center, the commotion in Area D had caused the entire center to be in an uproar. Shursen and the rest had displayed their powerful strength, causing everyone to exclaim out in surprise. Tang Tian looked at Shursen, his face that was filled with the vicissitudes of life, his white hair and beard that were as tough as steel, his muddy eyes lit up with a light aura, like the embers of a bonfire being blown away by the wind, suddenly lighting up with a bright red light. Chapter 605. Tang Tian was like an agile fish, swimming around the messy wooden houses. Thinking about how he had tricked the opponent, Tang Tian's heart was filled with joy. You want to fight with me? No way. Suddenly, she saw a figure in front of her from the corner of her eyes. She clenched her fists tightly, veins popping out. Her valiant and formidable-looking face was filled with anger. She rushed into the alley that the opponent had rushed into and looked around, but where could she find him? She suddenly lost track of him. Ling Xia's mind was roused. A few figures pounced onto Tang Tian at the same time. They suddenly turned and sprinted forward, and when they were 3 m away from Big Sister Boss, they used their afterimages to confuse Big Sister Boss, causing her to lose control and crash into the wooden house. Ling Xia's face suddenly flushed red. What everyone found even more unbelievable was that Big Sister Boss was actually at a disadvantage. Seeing Big Sister Boss crash into the wooden house's energy barrier, it was as though they had seen a ghost. Tang Tian's eyes became serious. Ling Xia clenched her teeth, and without hesitation, she increased her speed and chased. The opponent did not escape, but quietly floated in the air. Expert! Her figure flashed, and she disappeared again. Tang Tian felt that it was unreasonable. Does she want to fight? He was too lazy to run compared to the endless chase and chase. It was much easier to settle it by fighting. Flames suddenly lit up the alley in front of him. Tang Tian's expression turned cold, and brazenly rushed towards the opponent. One after another, the figures were sent flying, accompanied by explosions and screams. But the young man who relied on his own strength to weave the net was like a ghost. Tang Tian jumped in fright and ran once again. Everyone had the same question in their mind. The young man's voice was filled with killing intent. "We're here." Tang Tian let go of his hands and feet, not holding back at all. Ling Xia felt as though she was in a perilous situation. The opponent's attack rate was so high that she had never heard of it before. The torrential attacks did not give her any time to breathe. Her mind was blank, and she could only instinctively defend. Asshole! Strangely, Ling Xia's heart was filled with intense fear. She regretted her rash actions. In their eyes, this fellow was just a little mouse that had no other ability other than running away. How could he be Big Sister's opponent in a direct confrontation? In their eyes, this operation was just like a game, and it was just for fun. The energy barrier shattered like rain, and another figure flew out. Tang Tian snorted. He punched the fiery light. The null flames coiled around the fiery light, causing the fiery light to be extinguished, as though it was doused with water. The silk pants almost couldn't believe their eyes. In that short instant, too many inconceivable details had appeared. That kind of sudden stop that completely defied common sense, the astonishing burst of power in the opposite direction, and the instant before the two sides collided, the perfect 90-degree right-angle deviation. In comparison, Afterimage's move was the least technical. But this afterimage, which was the least technical, allowed the series of attacks to become nimble. Ling Xia, who was already on the verge of collapse, finally revealed a flaw. Tang Tian's eyes lit up with a cold aura, his figure suddenly appearing behind Ling Xia. The blondie's vision blurred, and a figure appeared in front of him like a ghost. He quivered and subconsciously put up an energy barrier with all his strength. He was about to go in and take a look, when he suddenly saw a fiery light from the corner of his eyes. Ling Xia, who had just felt that she had a chance to catch her breath, had no choice but to use all her strength to block. Sparks flew everywhere, her body trembled, she was unable to control her body, and rushed forward 2 steps. Bang! Ling Xia swayed and stabilized her body, although she had the protection of the energy barrier, but the impact was not light for her. Only after 10 seconds did she regain her senses. She was already thinking, who exactly was the man? Such a strange flight should be an obvious characteristic, but no matter how she racked her brains, she could not think of anyone. Tang Tian relaxed once again, and regained his relaxed look. "You want to fight with me? You're still too inexperienced." Ling Xia did not say a word. She extended her body and flew towards the right. She was a White Sands native, and had played hide and seek here since young, and was extremely familiar with the shops. I did not provoke her, but she's still lingering around. Every wooden house was a shop, and as far as the eye could see, they were densely packed. How many shops are there? Tang Tian was secretly speechless. Wait a minute, he suddenly reacted. Why did I have to run? He patted his head in frustration. Who is she? Both parties started an intense chase between the densely packed wooden houses. Every time Tang Tian would be able to shake her off, but after a while, she would catch up again. Bang bang bang. So powerful. Women are weak? What a joke. When Chia dominated Andrew City, she had beaten up so many men to the point of hugging their heads and crying in pain. These words appeared in the minds of the onlookers at the same time. Ganging up on me? Ling Xia's soul was about to leave her body. She knew that she had kicked an iron board. That asshole's figure once again appeared in her vision. Using her waist as a whip, her legs as a whip, her power suddenly erupted. Why are you chasing me? Just at that moment, the metal plate on her body suddenly trembled. Energy was injected into the metal plate, causing it to immediately light up with a gentle light aura, and a familiar voice came out. Ling Xia's face changed. She suddenly realized that her actions of being angry had already violated a taboo. She wanted to speak up, but a figure had already rushed in front of her. She did not even have time to say a word, and could only defend in panic. Big sister, he is 30 to your right, in front of old Lin's shop. The metal plate on her body buzzed again, and Tang Tian's position was exposed once again. The silk pants were ignited by Tang Tian's crazy performance. She was the big sister who could do whatever she wanted in the White Sands continent, and there had never been anyone who could make her eat so much. A fist smashed onto her energy barrier, causing it to shatter in an instant, and the light aura dissipated. The crazy woman just now rushed towards him angrily. The anger in Ling Xia's heart dissipated by half. She had to admit that without the help of her comrades, she would not be able to catch up to him. He looked to be a very young man, but he had astonishing attainments in escaping. Those with strength naturally won respect easily. But when Tang Tian's fist destroyed Ling Xia's energy barrier, the faces of the silk pants all changed. All of them were experienced people. Fighting and brawling was a common occurrence, and they could tell with one look if it was real or not. Without stopping, Tang Tian tiptoed and extended his body. Like a reverse bow, he drew a beautiful arc, and coincidentally blocked the path of a fatty. Big sister, head west. That person is behind the 7th house on the west side of you. Her reaction was extremely fast. She knew that it was too late to say anything, and the most important thing was to block the opponent's attack. One of the silk pants pointed out Tang Tian's position excitedly. Ling Xia was like a bird that had fallen into a net. No matter how she struggled, she was unable to break free. I was fooled. The moment Tang Tian made his move on Ling Xia, all of the silk pants were startled, but then they all laughed out loud. Could it be that this fellow wanted to compete with Big Sister? Oh my God, how is that possible? She must be sick. The strength of the opponent's fists far exceeded her imagination. The energy barrier that she had erected, in front of the iron fists, was as weak as paper. What made Ling Xia feel even more terrifying was the gray flames that coiled around the fists. The unknown gray flames released an aura that caused people's hearts to palpitate. Regardless of how powerful the energy was, as long as it struck, it would be destroyed. I was actually fooled by the most ordinary afterimage. Asshole! Who is he? Big sister. This time, she did not increase her speed, but quietly got closer to the opponent. But Tang Tian's alertness was much stronger than she thought. When she was about 30 away from Tang Tian noticed her. Tang Tian, who was never patient, was completely annoyed. Other people might have misgivings about Ling Xia being a woman, but in Tang Tian's eyes, there was no difference between a man and a woman. Tang Tian jumped in fright. Without thinking, he turned and ran. It was as though he was struck by a heavy hammer. The energy barrier immediately crumbled. It was unable to withstand such a powerful force. The yellow hair was sent flying as though he was struck by a wild beast. He curiously swept his gaze across the different types of wooden houses. Every wooden house had a signboard in front of them. On it was the scope of their business and a few of their products. He immediately threw the matter to the back of his head. It was just a small interlude on the road, and he did not care about such a small interlude. The terrain of the city was extremely suitable for escaping. Tang Tian's pulling handle did not have any energy undulations, and was proficient in changing directions. He was like a slippery loach, weaving in and out of the wooden houses, and in the blink of an eye, he had shaken off the opponent. The commercial district of the outer city was filled with densely packed wooden houses, and people needed to travel back and forth between the wooden houses. It was like a gigantic and colorful maze, and if one was not careful, they would get lost. The complicated terrain made it a haven for criminals. It was easy to shake off the pursuers, as well as ambushes and assassinations. Tang Tian took the chance to change directions, and blocked the reinforcements coming from the other direction, and sent them flying with a punch. Bang! The opponent's flying method was too strange. The way he changed directions was extremely fast, and his speed was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, Ling Xia once again lost sight of him. The few silk pants closest to them all rushed towards the two of them. No matter what, they could not let Big Sister get injured. Her slender snow-white neck was grabbed by a hand. Ling Xia never thought that the opponent would actually be so slippery, and in the blink of an eye, disappeared again. But she had already made arrangements, and her metal plate buzzed again. The hand was like an iron claw. Ling Xia only felt the back of her neck tighten. The intense feeling of suffocation caused her mind to go blank. Tang Tian was like a bolt of lightning that kept on reflecting, revolving around Ling Xia's surroundings at an astonishing speed. He continued to shoot out. No one was able to break through his defense, and all those who tried to get close were instantly sent flying. He stood still and waited for the opponent to appear again. Ling Xia's mouth revealed a confident smile. All of the silk pants that were watching the commotion were all used as sentries by her, and were scattered in every corner of the area. Regardless of which direction the opponent tried to escape to, they would never be able to escape from the inescapable net. Pa pa pa! The light and concentrated explosions sounded out like the beating of a war drum. One person, facing so many people, was actually not at a disadvantage. Furthermore, women who dared to cause trouble outside were all difficult to deal with. Ling Xia's face then completely changed. The opponent had unleashed his killing intent. Bang! A ray of light suddenly lit up. Like a fire snake, it pounced towards Tang Tian. An inescapable net. Borrowing the force, Tang Tian took the opportunity to step forward, appearing behind Ling Xia, and threw out another punch. Chapter 606. Tang Tian's question was not heard by the people who were further away, but they still reported to the Ling family. The Ling family had a good reputation in the White Sands continent, and many people had received the Ling family's kindness, and even more people had business relations with the Ling family. Tang Tian frowned. He did not like the aura that the man was emitting. Ying did not give way. He lowered his head and twirled the wine cup in his hand, and said, "It's rare to meet Miss Ling. Why don't we have a drink together? Miss Ling's competitors are not weak. Let's all drink and exchange some feelings." The body that was like a small mountain fiercely smashed onto the dining table, causing it to shatter into pieces, wine splattering everywhere. Hun Shan was in a mess. His face was covered in blood, and he did not move an inch. He Ying's face was ashen. As the commander of the Second Army, when had anyone dared to be so impudent in front of him? Who is he? Tang Tian poked a silk pants beside him. Ling Xia looked at Tang Tian in a daze. At that moment, she did not know what to say. From now on, we are all brothers. Let me go. Brother, you are too fierce. Tang Tian's feet firmly stepped on Heng Shan's face. Ling Xia's face was ashen. He Ying's words were filled with threats. It was extremely obvious. Tang Tian's expression was focused. He carefully and cautiously observed his surroundings. Although he did not know the identity of the crazy girl in his hands, but from the looks of it, she had some background. Ling Xia, who was tightly grabbed by the neck, her messy hair, pale white face, her eyes filled with fear, she was so weak that it made people feel pity for her. What? Brother Meng is here to run business? I have nothing to say. This little brother's family has a few shops. Just one word from me. Her tone did not have the slightest bit of happiness. Oh, Tang Tian was enlightened. He let go of Ling Xia and flaunted, "How is it? It's powerful, right? This is my own creation. It's called Ganba. Are you shocked, young lady? This is a small matter. Brother Meng, if you say thank you, then you are ridiculing us. She then floated to the people who came to help, and thanked them one by one. After doing all this, he turned around and flew back to Tang Tian's side. For a person who was very likely to become a marquis of a region, no amount of attention could be paid to him. Dry pull, that's dry pull, isn't it? I created it myself. And who is this guy? Tang Tian tilted his head and asked Ling Xia. Ling Xia replied, the way you fly. Why are you chasing me? Tang Tian scanned his surroundings, his feet not stopping at all. Impudent. A fierce-looking short and sturdy-looking burly man stepped out from the crowd and blocked in front of He Ying. He squinted his eyes and said coldly, you dare to be rude to master, you must be tired of living. In his dictionary, there was no such thing as a latecomer. He had always believed in the idea of a latecomer. Brother Meng, your problem is our problem. In this White Sands territory, us brothers still have some face. In truth, she was not willing to offend He Ying. He was the commander of the 2nd Army, and even if she became the commander of the 5th Army, her position would still be below He Ying. Despicable. That kick of yours just now, oh my God, it was too fast. My chest is still feeling stuffy. The man behind Tang Tian bellowed. He dispersed the soldiers who were preparing to flank him, and flew towards Tang Tian with all his might. All of the people who were watching the commotion were dumbstruck. No one had expected that the situation would develop to such a stage. They were not Ursa Major constellation. The light wall crumbled, and everyone quickly scattered in all directions, opening up a path. Tang Tian looked around curiously. The entire hall of the restaurant was filled. The alluring fragrance made Tang Tian even hungrier. Why are you chasing me? Bang. But Tang Tian had already made his move. There was no way out. She clenched her teeth and prepared to take action. A group of people majestically rushed into the White Sands. They were all old customers, and the manager of the restaurant immediately came out to welcome them. Ling Xia had the possibility of becoming the commander of the White Sands 5th Army. Such a person had to be fawned over. The White Sands continent pursued the path of elite soldiers, and compared to the 36 armies of the vast star continent, the mere 5 armies looked much weaker. Even Big Sister was subdued. Such a fierce man, he was the first. Ling Xia choked. Why did they chase him? After thinking about it, she felt that it was hard to say. Curious? Or angry from being overtaken? It seemed as though any reason would not hold water. They want to surround me. His bodyguard is surnamed Heng Shan, an expert from the Wang Lin continent. Before Ling Xia could finish, her eyes blurred. Ling Xia finally regained her senses, and could not help but shout out. Big Sister, even if this little brother does not have any merits, he has worked hard. Isn't this Miss Ling? I never thought that I would meet Miss Ling here. I am truly lucky. A man laughed. He was about 27 or 28 years old, with a tall stature, handsome looks. His face had a warm smile. He raised his wine cup and greeted Ling Xia. But they were stopped. The faces of the people who raised the light wall changed. The man in the lead immediately shouted, all of you, disperse. Godlike young lad is easy to bully? Without even looking, Tang Tian carried Ling Xia and rushed forward. A group of people suddenly rushed out from the group in front of them, prepared to stop Tang Tian. Tang Tian's eyes became cold. For some reason he was being chased, for some reason he was being harassed, and for some reason he was being surrounded. Everyone's expression relaxed. Since Miss Ling said that it was a misunderstanding, then it was fine. The strength that Tang Tian had displayed previously caused everyone to have restraining fear. If they were to truly fight with such an expert, the casualties would be extremely tragic. Suddenly, a roar came out from behind. Quickly let go of Miss Ling Xia. The people who were chasing with all their might rushed to the scene, and upon seeing the scene in front of them, they could not believe their eyes. Just a moment ago, both parties were at each other's throats, their killing intent soaring. How could it suddenly be so peaceful? Tang Tian was like a gust of wind, blowing past them. With a few flashes, borrowing the cover of the wooden house, Tang Tian carried Ling Xia and disappeared. Hearing that, master, he laughed. I am He Ying. You must be the expert that subdued Miss Ling, as expected of a young hero. I heard that there was a mysterious expert outside, and shocked White Sand City. Everyone quietened down. Since when did Big Sister ever apologize to anyone? No one expected that Tang Tian would not even greet them and immediately make a move. Without the order, the guards by He Ying's side roared and pounced towards Tang Tian. Curious? Tang Tian squinted his eyes. He did not have any intention of dodging, and rushed straight towards the group. The other party's weird words made Tang Tian frown, and said impolitely, "Hey, I'm hungry, move aside." Ling Xia's face changed. The guards by He Ying's side were all experts, and were all extremely strong. Tang Tian's sudden move was out of her expectations, and in the blink of an eye, the situation had become extremely bad. "Brother, want to go drink?" But daring to take responsibility for her actions was Ling Xia's style. She clenched her teeth. "I'm sorry, I was just curious." But the 5 armies were all elites, and had gone through thousands of selections to stay. The commanders of the White Sands continent, as compared to the commanders of the vast Star continent, had much more authority. With real authority, the commanders of the 5 armies were all marquises. Ling Xia did not expect the other party to let them go so easily, and even more so, did not expect Tang Tian to be so happy. She was stunned. "Don't fight, don't get to know each other." Seeing that the group of people were getting more and more excited, Ling Xia helplessly pushed the crowd aside, and bowed seriously. "Brother Meng, it was this little sister's fault today. This little sister has prepared a banquet to apologize to Brother Meng. I hope that Brother Meng will do me the honor." The stern voice was not loud, but was filled with a cold intent. It was White Sand City. The other party's entire body lit up with light auras, converging to form a light wall, blocking in front of Tang Tian. Tang Tian snorted. He raised Ling Xia in his hands and struck the wall of light. Ling Xia was expressionless. "I never thought that Master he would be eating here. Nice to meet you." Ling Xia has matters to attend to, and will not accompany Master. "Master, please help yourself." The Silk Pants felt that Tang Tian was even more to their liking. He was strong, that was admirable, but he had a good character, that was hard to come by. They hated those hypocrites who pretended to be humble the most. Tang Tian's complacency, to them, was sincere, and not pretentious. They surrounded Tang Tian, all of them excited. Tang Tian was clear. Against an army, the worst thing to do was to be surrounded. Upon being surrounded, losing space was the most dangerous thing. Tang Tian's movements were faster than her. Without turning his head, Tang Tian could sense that there was a group of people behind him. Furthermore, they were spreading out in all directions. Tang Tian, who had trained with them for a long time, immediately judged their intentions. "That's right, men have to be so fierce." Tang Tian was startled. After thinking for a long time, he could not think of such a strange reason. He could not help but ask, "What are you curious about?" Ling Xia watched in shock as Tang Tian mingled with everyone, and called them brothers. Furthermore, to dare block my meal, they must be tired of living. Strike first and gain the upper hand. He extended his hand out and was about to push He Ying to the side. White Inn, White Sand's highest grade restaurant. To be able to see Ganba's power. "Hey, young lady, your eyes are not bad." Ling Xia nodded her head. "Let's go together, you guys wait for me." As a Silk Pants, if they were not proficient in eating, drinking and playing, they would not be able to survive in the circle. They were compatible and worth associating with. Ling Xia regained her senses and spoke to everyone. "It's a misunderstanding. It's a misunderstanding." Tang Tian was slightly hungry, and nodded his head. "All right. Let's go together." Whoosh! A group of people surrounded Tang Tian and rushed towards the restaurant. Hung Shan's eyes were wide open. Following that, he felt a force that could topple the mountains and overturn the seas. His entire being was like a ball that was fiercely whipped and flew out. Compared to them, the Silk Pants who had suffered under Tang Tian's hands immediately surrounded him. They were playful people, but their personalities were somewhat naive. They did not care about ordinary people, but towards people who were stronger than them, they were filled with respect. "Stop him!" Although Tang Tian had received a lot of bootlicking, but it was the first time he had received such collective praise, causing him to immediately become excited. If anyone had ill intentions towards Tang Tian would definitely not say a word and kill them. But if the other party expressed goodwill, Tang Tian would be easy to talk to, and if the other party praised Tang Tian would be elated, and anything could be said. Everyone had already forgotten about Ling Xia's existence. To be able to befriend such an expert, to be able to share the same rotten tastes, no, to be able to appreciate each other, that was fate. That is a must. Tang Tian put on a senior's words are sincere and earnest expression. Chapter 607. Tang Tian staggered back 3 steps before stabilizing himself. His arms were sore and weak, and he could not even lift them up, but his face revealed a look of excitement. Saints of the sacred Saint Galaxy, although they did not have any intricate spirit techniques, but their usage of energy was more direct and more simple and crude. The two of them clashed with their fists, causing everyone present to be moved. The burly man was extremely tall and sturdy. Although he was shocked, he did not panic, his forward momentum did not change, his arms trembled. Borrowing the momentum, he shouted out, a cannon hammer without any fancy moves. By June, why did you attack Qin Yu Ran? Sobai asked. Hearing Duke Ming's question of, who is he reacted and was about to reply, but at that moment, Tang Tian had already pounced towards Shi Ao while shouting. The fist that was covered in null flames clashed with the scarlet-red energy fist aura without any fancy moves. Lien Bo-jun pondered, Senior, are you trying to bribe me? The silver sword aura swallowed and spat out in the air, the dense sword concept enveloping Tang Tian. Lien Bo-jun's Black Mountain was one of them. The White Restaurant was the highest-grade restaurant in White Sands City, and its guests were all famous people in the White Sands continent. And because of Qin Yu Ran, all the influential and famous people from the surrounding continents had all rushed to the White Sands continent, which directly caused the White Restaurant to be full every day. White Sands City was an important city with prosperous businesses, and countless of powerful martial artists came here to make a fortune. A familiar yet foreign aura caused all of the hairs on Tang Tian's body to stand. Laws. The people who initially did not think much of it all became serious. Even though Shi Ao maintained his composure, but anyone with a bit of insight could tell that Shi Ao was at a disadvantage. Bai Xiao was dumbstruck. Shi Ao's reputation was not as high as his, but his strength was definitely not weaker than his. Shi Ao killed his way up from the lowest level, one fist igniting 14 continents. That was the battle that made him famous. After 3 years, he had challenged the experts of 14 continents, causing a huge commotion. Even with Tang Tian's tyrannical body, he was unable to take it. Duke Ming nodded and praised. Shi Ao's fist ray cultivation is indeed unique. He first cultivated in the lava of volcanoes, then in molten iron. Finally, he achieved great success, which is why he is said to be able to burn 14 continents with one punch. Of all the generals in the vanguard camp, he was definitely ranked in the top 5. He did not expect that he would fall into a disadvantageous position. This old man is very curious. Who is this child? Yes, my lord. The subordinate answered. The null flames coiled around his fist and quickly revolved. Zzz, the faster the null flames revolved, transforming into a gray vortex. Tang Tian, who was the first to make a move, took a step and appeared in front of a man who was rushing towards him in a blur. His own energy was actually annihilated. Forcefully annihilated. Of course, the boss of the White Tower would not be without a backer. If it was someone else causing trouble, he would have thrown them out long ago. But one side was Ling Xia, the other was He Ying. He did not dare to take the lead. Ling Xia was about to become the commander of the 5th Army, and the Ling family was deeply rooted in the area. He Ying was also a powerful and narrow-minded person. If he were to bear a grudge, not only would it be difficult for the restaurant to continue operating, he might even face the danger of losing his family. Su Abai was one of the few people who knew of Lien Bo-jun's background. He was a genius who was once one of the top 3 graduates of the Heaven Forest Academy's military department. Regardless of strategy, courage, or decisiveness, Su Bai felt admiration for him. The strange energy was like an awl that drilled into his right arm. It was unstoppable, and wherever it passed, all of his energy would be annihilated. What made him even more fearful was that the area of energy annihilation was like a land that had been corroded by poison. His own energy was actually unable to move forward. But there were many experts on the scene, and without any movements, they pressed down with their palms, and the surging airflow immediately disappeared. When his subordinate left, Su Bai became deep in thought. Since it involved Lien Bo-jun, the matter was definitely not simple. He took out the communication plate and injected energy into it, and after a few seconds, a calm voice came out, "Senior Su Bai." As expected of a senior. Lien Bo-jun praised. "Seems like I guessed correctly." Su Bai's tone was normal, but a cold glint flashed past his eyes. Someone wants to take action against the White Sands continent. But the scene in front of them caused everyone to be shocked. Su Bai nodded his head, and then reminded, "Pay attention to the security of the city. There are too many outsiders recently. There are crooks mixed in with the honest folks. Everyone must be vigilant." "Running merchants?" Su Bai smiled and said in a deep voice, "Investigate this group of people." After ending the call, Su Bai became deep in thought. In the darkness, a light aura flickered in his eyes. But Xiao was actually at a disadvantage. "Molten steel fist Xiao." Someone exclaimed. Su Bai asked, under his steel wire-like short hair, his eyebrows were like blades, his square face looked as though it was carved by blades and axes, his lips were wide and thick, his skin was dark. Even though he was just sitting there, he gave off the feeling of being as steady as a mountain. Striding forward, his body was like a bow, his fists were like arrows. Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of fear. Just at that moment, a cold snort came out from behind, seeking death. A scarlet-red light aura suddenly lit up from his body. It congealed into molten steel, covering his entire body and slowly flowing, like a molten steel armor. The temperature of the air suddenly rose, the floor beneath his feet turned into ashes, and his aura rose to its peak. "Senior, are you here to denounce me?" Lien Bo-jun did not seem surprised, his tone was calm. Xiao relaxed, he knew his good friend's strength, and immediately dodged to the side. A sword light brushed past his body, and flew towards Tang Tian. What joke was that? Even if it was him, it was impossible for him to defeat Lien Bo-jun with 46 men, such a powerful person running away. "Thank you, Bo-jun," Su Bai said politely. Compared to him, he was more proficient in using battles to solve problems. Lien Bo-jun was quiet for a moment, then said, "I'm sorry. What clues do you have?" Lien Bo-jun became quiet. Both parties had powerful backing, and no one dared to step forward. Tang Tian's eyes lit up. It was the first time he had seen someone using fist techniques in the sacred Saint Galaxy. That sword had the flavor of laws. The commander of the White Sands First Army was the most trusted right-hand man of the continent lord, and was one of the most influential people in the White Sands continent. The two fists clashed, and the intense airflow swept out like a hurricane. "Lien Bo-jun." Su Bai frowned. Pirates were usually a motley crew. They were undisciplined, and could not withstand a single blow. But the true elites of the pirates were extremely disciplined, and were not inferior to the official army. Such pirates were not to be trifled with, and were the overlords of the pirates. Tang Tian's roar could be heard by everyone. Money, status, authority, not every strong martial artist was above the common people. Relying on the strength of the vanguard battalion, Hing had run amok for many years. The fist was like a cannonball being fired. It is a small group, with a total of 46 men. The leader is called Meng Nan. They boarded a boat halfway, and are said to be doing business in White Sands. A subordinate said respectfully, "What conditions did they give you?" Su Bai asked. "That's right." Su Bai straightforwardly admitted, "Why not? I believe that White Sands can give me the conditions. And I believe that I have a better reputation than the rest." Su Bai was not angry, he nodded his head. "Oh, seems like it is not a problem of money. It is not a problem of money, and to be able to move by June, interesting. Again. Go. Who is he?" He is actually so powerful. Duke Ming's face was filled with shock. He was an elder of White Sands, and the reason why the current continent lord was able to sit in his position was because of his support. He had lived in White Sands for a long time, and was naturally familiar with He Ying's vanguard battalion. Seeing that everyone did not understand, he explained, "That fighter is Xiao. What fist energy is that?" The brawny man stared at him, his eyes filled with disbelief, vigilance, and fear. His entire body was covered in molten iron red light, and a large piece was missing from his right arm all the way to his right chest, which was completely exposed. He also raised his right fist. Tang Tian's pupils constricted. He knew how terrifying it was. "It's Lien Bo Jun," his subordinate reported respectfully. "We spent a lot of effort to bribe the pirate spies, and found out about it from one of the pirates' ship repair points. A few of their warships were damaged, and are being repaired there. Their losses this time are not small." Heaven's Road's fist saint was superior in terms of technique, but the energy contained in his fist far exceeded any fist technique that Tang Tian had seen before. "Senior, please be careful." Lien Bo Jun's calm voice did not have any fluctuations. He could not believe his own eyes. Even if Tang Tian was carelessly swinging his arms and muttering, he did not have the demeanor of an expert. But when he looked at Xiao, the shock in his eyes was completely revealed. The molten iron energy armor on his body had a huge chunk bitten off. Bang! He Ying's bodyguards were all powerful martial artists that were recruited with a huge sum of money. None of them were nobodies. They were not proficient in battle formations, but their individual strengths were strong, and even He Ying, a military leader, was full of praises for them. In the past few years, they had earned a lot of face for He Ying, causing the other commanders to be envious. In times of need, they were the vanguards, like heavy axes, unstoppable, and one of the killing techniques of the Second Army. This young man did not waste his time. The Black Mountain Pirates, from nothing to now, from weak to strong, was all created by this junior of his. And although the Black Mountain Pirates plundered, they did not kill the innocent, showing that this junior of his still had a bottom line. "No, I just feel that the matter is not that simple." Bai said, "It is rumored that Xiao's fist aura is congealed like molten iron. Seeing it today, it truly lives up to its name. Null flames, spiraling energy. But, to be able to repel his junior, and still be able to cause so much damage, his standard is definitely not low." "Yes." His subordinate immediately replied. He swung his arms with all his might, and took in a breath of cold air. "Sigh, it's numb, oh my God, so powerful. Strong enough. Truly strong enough." Survival of the fittest, the bodyguards by He Ying's side changed batch after batch, and their strength continued to increase. In the White Sands continent, the Second Army's Vanguard Battalion was a name that everyone knew. Who was the one who attacked? Sobai asked. Tang Tian did not think much about it. He Ying was an eyesore, and the crazy young man had always beaten him up before saying anything. He had to first consider the consequences, then the conditions, the timing, all of these high-difficulty techniques. To the crazy young man, it was so high level that he had to look up to it. Oh, he might not even be able to look up to it. Chapter 608. I never thought that Duke Ming and General Bai would be here. I have truly disturbed your mood. He Ying hereby apologizes to the two of you. He Ying said apologetically. Ling Xia's face changed. She never thought that He Ying would actually be able to recruit the Silver Wing Swordsman. The Silver Wing Swordsman was one of the famous swordsmen in the southern region. He was extremely powerful, stepping into the realm of silver rank at the age of 30, and was currently 35 years old, at his peak. Tang Tian looked at the table filled with food. His limbs were already weak from hunger, and shouted, "Xiao Bai, I'll eat first, I'm starving." Its struggle attracted even more fireflies, and the fireflies rushed forward. Pa! It exploded into a formless ripple and disappeared. Bai Xiao raised his hand and shouted, "Brother Meng! Young man, you are still growing, eat more." Duke Ming's face was full of smiles. He was extremely amiable. He turned his head. "Waiter, Bring more meat. The mark of a silver saint was energy transmutation, but that represented how much energy they could use. And the saint's own domain and attainments were profound, and laws were another mark. Bai Yu laughed. That's right, just this battle alone made this trip worth it. Ying brought Xiao Ian back to the table, his face becoming gloomy. Energy transmutation was the mark of a silver saint. Duke Ming, who initially thought that he understood Ying had a deep understanding of him, was overwhelmed with shock. Gaining enlightenment on laws, in any domain, meant that he had stepped into the next level. A tall and handsome man walked out from the crowd and asked, I am Xiao Ian, may I ask for your name? Everyone laughed and chatted, only Tang Tian was burying his head in the food. Everyone seemed to have forgotten about his existence, and no one said anything about him. The silver sword aura carried a trace of coolness, like the autumn wind blowing past. The hall that was previously heated up by Xiao's molten steel fist became as cool as autumn. Ying actually had a swordsman who had gained enlightenment on laws. He is not considered strong, but he is extremely strange. He has clearly just touched the doorstep of the Silver Realm, but his techniques are extremely unique, exquisite, and rich in variations. What this subordinate does not understand the most is that when he fights, there are no energy undulations. I've just checked Theo's injuries. That gray flame is extremely poisonous and has an extremely powerful annihilation effect. I don't know if Dr. Su can do anything about it. This unknown gray flame is the most dangerous. Xiao Ian laughed bitterly. Although he did not know who Xiao Ian was, but he could clearly feel that the other party's sword was played down and did not use his full strength. Tang Tian's fighting spirit was strong, and he did not want to give up just like that. The fireflies that filled the sky contained a fatal killing intent under their beauty. Tang Tian still did not raise his head. After experiencing the shock, everyone came to a sudden realization. Previously, everyone was still guessing who the powerful swordsman was, but no one expected it to be Xiao Yi, and Tang Tian's actions once again shocked everyone. The Silk Pants almost worshipped Tang Tian. Brother, just how fierce are you? Do you know who the people at this table are? He now understood that the difficulty of comprehending laws in the Sacred Saint Galaxy was much harder than in Heaven's Road. The energy in the Sacred Saint Galaxy was too abundant. It was like a thick layer of snow, burying laws even deeper. To be able to gain enlightenment on laws in the Sacred Saint Galaxy, they were all powerful people. Tang Tian looked towards the direction of the voice, and his eyes lit up. Xiao Bai. The rain of light entered the sword aura, causing the sword aura to hum lightly, as though it was a wild beast that was angered, releasing an angry roar. The fireflies did not move, they continued to gracefully dance, continuously pouncing towards the sword auras. The hall was in an uproar, everyone's heart trembled. Silver-winged swordsman. His expression was solemn, a cold glint floating in his eyes. It was as beautiful as art. How hungry are you? Bai Xiao poured a cup of water for Tang Tian. We have not seen each other for 2 days, and you are already in such a sorry state. If Yuran sees this, she will scold me again. If we were to say that the laws in the Silver Sword aura were shocking, then such a unique martial technique caused everyone to be immersed in it. When had they ever seen such an exquisite martial technique before? Suddenly, Tang Tian found another advantage in Heaven's Road, and that was the laws. The hall was only left with the slowly floating fireflies. There were no signs of fire or smoke. It was not only Bai Yu whose face changed, even He Ying's eyes flashed with a look of shock. Although He Ying was domineering, but there was no need to doubt his strength. He himself was a silver saint. Although the sword aura was not dazzling, but when the sword was released, everyone's face changed. The saints who were not strong enough did not understand what laws were. They only felt that their minds were completely attracted by the sword, their bodies froze, their minds went blank, and they could not resist at all. Tang Tian's mouth was stuffed full, and he let out muffled sounds. But it was not the time to think about that. Bai Yu stared at the regiment of light floating in front of him. The soybean-sized regiment of light released a gentle light aura, but did not give off any shocking light or heat. Bai Xiao was suddenly filled with regret. Why did he shout out like that? The entire hall's gazes all landed on him. There were already many ladies who covered their mouths and chuckled. Young noble Bai Xiao was a romantic and unrestrained person, but he was actually called Xiao Bai, as though he was a pet at home. He suddenly had a premonition that he was a huge problem. Duke Ming's expression changed and said in surprise, "Don't tell me you're on the same boat? Don't tell me the one who repelled the pirates. Is this little brother Meng?" Tang Tian was shocked. Tang Tian was also shocked. Amidst the heart-trembling buzzing sound, the sword aura started to melt at a speed visible to the naked eye, leaving behind an extremely thin transparent light scar, struggling and trembling in the air. His smiling appearance caused Ling Xia's eyeballs to almost drop to the ground. The silk pants behind her all looked as though they had seen a ghost. His pupils constricted, but Tang Tian immediately calmed down. Dr. Su was the most powerful doctor in the Second Army. His medical skills were extremely high. Tang Tian took a deep breath, facing the incoming silver sword aura. He moved his legs, extending both of his hands. The gray null flames coiled around his arms and fingers. Those who knew their stuff could no longer maintain their composure, and stood up. Ling Xia saw Bai Zhao's table and immediately went over and bowed. "Duke Ming, General Bai, young noble Xiao. Silver-winged swordsman Xiao Ian." Shouldn't he have bulged out his muscles like a demon, opened his mouth wide, all the veins on his body popping out, his strength as strong as a bull? Every step he took would cause the earth to shake? And saints in the realm of silver, they were terrifying killing machines, they were filled with danger, and were the sharpest blades. Laws. Others would still revere laws, but to Tang Tian, it was something he was extremely familiar with. Jing Hao, Crane, Ling Su, all of them had gained enlightenment on laws, and in Heaven's Road, gaining enlightenment on laws was a prerequisite for being bestowed as a saint. But Bai Yu's face changed. He could smell the scent of energy transformation from the gentle light. With that, he sat down and buried his head in his food. Woo woo woo. Tang Tian did not have any intention of stopping, and continued to bury his head in his food. Duke Ming laughed. "General He, why do you say that, to be able to witness such a spectacular battle? It is truly an honor." Bai Yu was moved. To use 46 men to repel 10 frigates and a warship of pirates, it is truly unfathomable. Even with me personally commanding, I do not dare to say that we can win. He swallowed his saliva with difficulty. "Good. Let's eat first." "How strong is he? Do you have confidence?" Hing asked softly. Tang Tian, who was in the field, did not have any sinister look, did not roar. His expression was indifferent. Under his meticulous state, he was as calm as water, as though he was a completely different person. Annihilation energy? He Ying was surprised. He was a silver military general, and knew how much damage annihilation energy could bring to saints. Such damage was extremely difficult to recover from, and he had never heard of anyone's martial technique that had the effect of annihilation energy. Military generals of the realm of silver possessed outstanding leadership and could greatly increase the strength of an army. Woo woo woo. Tang Tian continued to eat. Xiao Ian was startled, then laughed at himself. "No discord, no concord to be able to meet Brother Meng today. It is my fortune. This is not the place to spar. Why don't we fight another day? I don't want to spoil everyone's mood. A man is made of iron and rice is made of steel. To be able to eat so well, one look and I can tell that you are a good man." Bai Yu praised. After blocking Xiao Yi's sword, everyone's gaze towards Tang Tian changed. It had been 2 days. Bai Zhao's expression was as though he had seen a ghost. If he did not personally witness it, he would not believe it even if he was beaten to death. Such a beautiful and exquisite martial technique actually came from Meng Nan's hands. "What is this?" Just at that moment, He Ying, Xiao Ian and the rest brought their wine cups over. Duke Ming's eyes are like torches. Bai Xiao clapped his hands and praised. "Brother Meng's skills are extraordinary. All of his subordinates are heroes that can fight against 100. If not for Brother Meng's help, you ran and I would have been in danger." His expression was gloomy. The silk pants behind her all kept quiet out of fear and bowed respectfully. Even if it was here, the might of laws was stronger. Laws were laws. The fireflies that filled the sky flew towards the silver sword aura, the sky suddenly lit up with countless of light scars. The fireflies were like rain or snow, the light scars were like silk weaved together, the light aura was blurred and beautiful. I am Meng Nan. Tang Tian casually said. He was eager to fight. Hey, are we still fighting? Tang Tian thought about it. It was true, fighting here would restrict his hands and feet, and he was worried that he would damage the restaurant. The crucial point was, once his fighting intent retreated, the hunger in his stomach was like thunder, causing his limbs to go soft. Xiao Bai. Bai Xiao was silent. If his cousins heard their father's words, they would definitely vomit blood. His 10 fingers extended out, sparks blossomed from Tang Tian's fingertips. In the blink of the eye, the air seemed to have been ignited, crackling and popping, countless of sparks slowly floated and danced in the air, like fireflies in the summer. It was like a dream or fantasy, filling the entire hall. Who knew that this was the first saint that Tang Tian had met in the sacred saint galaxy who had gained enlightenment on laws? Ling Xia's face changed. Duke Ming valued etiquette the most. Even the sons of the continent lord did not dare to be impudent in front of him. And General Bai Yu was a feudal lord, far more so than the armies of White Sands. With the power of the Bai family, no matter where they went, they would be treated as esteemed guests. Chapter 609. Simple? Bai Yu was startled. But don't you feel that their might is too weak? Su Jin wanted to curse in his heart. He did not want to be troubled, but the black gold was too important to the Suji worldwide commerce, and he had to obtain it, so he forced himself to say, as long as the Suji worldwide commerce can complete it. Ha! Is that so? Does everyone know about it? I am truly powerful, right? Tang Tian's spirit was immediately roused. He was extremely pleased, but then he smacked his lips and muttered, what a pity, I only exchanged one move with Qiao Ian. He is stronger than me by a bit, but I have already thought of a way to deal with him. Seeing the two of them glaring at each other with their swords drawn, Tang Tian was at a loss. Qin Yu Ran was shocked by Tang Tian's generosity, and Bai Yu, who was used to seeing storms, was also surprised. He stared at Tang Tian's face, and could not see any pretense or reluctance, and could not help but be moved. To casually give out 4 billion, such a heroic spirit was not something that anyone could have. Bai Xiao was dumbstruck, and after a while he laughed bitterly. As expected, only when money is needed will one regret not having enough. Tang Tian threw a piece of black gold to Bai Yu. Tang Tian understood. Then what's the price of this black gold? Bai Yu's tone changed and said leisurely, it is not impossible for me to give up on buying the black gold. My Bai family does not have much interest in building weapons. If Suji Worldwide Commerce can give us the best discount for the black gold warship weapons, I can consider it. What entered his eyes was Tang Tian's face filled with sincerity, a sincerity that was as bright as the sun. He stared at Tang Tian for a few seconds, and suddenly laughed. To tycoons, I am never courteous. Bai Yu's body trembled, the light aura in his eyes erupted, and without hesitation he said, we will take all the black gold. Bai Zhao's heart was filled with emotions and respect. He was truly extremely hard-working. No matter what time he looked for him, he would always be training, as though he did not know fatigue. Bai Yu shook his head. With a 50% discount, every year we will sell them to the Bai family, not less than 100 billion, not more than 500 billion worth of black gold warship weapons. Qin Yu Ran's eyes were filled with admiration. A focused man would always release an indescribable charm. Tang Tian's robust and strong body was covered in perspiration. With mist rising from it, it was filled with masculine beauty. Bai Yu smiled. That's right. But Xiao Meng and Xiao Bai are good friends, so what does it matter if he doesn't have that much cash? Tang Tian, on the other hand, didn't find anything wrong with it. He replied matter-of-factly, because it's simple. Su Jin's face darkened. Simple might not necessarily be weak. 50%. Su Jin gritted his teeth. Su Jin was just a shopkeeper in the White Sands continent, but Bai Yu was the #1 military general of the Bai family, and he had to obediently bow to Bai Yu. Su Jin didn't back down. Uncle, are you going to bully me like this? Snatching food from a junior's bowl, this is not the conduct of a senior. Su Jin almost scolded out loud, but he held it in. Then I want the exclusive rights to purchase it. Tang Tian was so happy that Bai Xiao almost could not believe his ears. Bang! A bundle of Empyrean ice tree spears was thrown in front of Bai Xiao, and Tang Tian said tyrannically, "You can count them yourself." That's right. Tang Tian was not modest at all. He was so pleased that his nostrils almost reached the sky. He turned and asked Bai Xiao, "What's the matter with Xiao Bai?" Bai Xiao raised his head. Qin Yuran laughed sweetly. "Big brother Meng's glorious deeds last night. Yuran's ears have almost grown calluses from hearing about it, but it's a pity that I was not able to witness it personally, so I came to congratulate Big brother Meng this morning." Su Jin sighed in his heart again. He was sure that his plan had failed, and in his heart, he was filled with respect for Bai Yu's shrewdness and ruthlessness. He only knew about it after testing it in the laboratory, but Bai Yu had only touched it once, and was able to discover the advantages of the black gold. Such foresight and experience, how could he not be impressed? Bai Yu picked up the black gold and looked at it carefully. His expression did not fluctuate, but when he injected energy into it, his face gradually became serious, and after half a minute, he then said slowly, "Good stuff. If I am not wrong, it can withstand a very strong energy load." In the training grounds, Tang Tian's entire body was perspiring profusely. He looked straight ahead and slowly retracted his fist. Bai Xiao, Bai Yu and Qin Yuran did not say anything to disturb Tang Tian, who was training. "I don't need too much, just 4 billion cloud coins will do," Bai Xiao said. Bai Yu curiously observed Tang Tian's training, his heart filled with suspicions. To him, all of Tang Tian's techniques were extremely basic and could not be any more basic, and he could not see anything special about it. Everyone was shocked by Tang Tian's words. The remaining half bundle was about 400 to 500 spears. After Bai Xiao finished picking, he looked at the remaining Empyrean ice tree spears reluctantly. If it was someone else who cultivated like this, he would probably scoff at it. But for a martial artist to be able to heavily injure Xiao and fight against Xiao Ian, to still do such training, there must be something that I do not understand. At that moment, Hansen came in to report, "Sir, Boss Su is here." Tang Tian noticed the reluctance in Bai Xiao's eyes, laughed, and pushed the remaining half of the Empyrean ice tree spears towards Bai Xiao. "These are all for you." The battle that happened in the White Tower spread throughout the entire White Sands city in one night. Seeing that, Bai Xiao explained in a low voice, "The more energy it can endure, the more suitable it is to be a warship weapon. The most expensive part of a warship was its weapons. Energy jade was the best material for silver-grade warship weapons on the market. However, it was very expensive. 1 cubic meter would cost more than 500 million. Most importantly, the production was very limited. How many weapons does a warship have? You've earned big this time." Bai Xiao rubbed his nose. "I am here for the Empyrean ice tree spears. I heard that you sold a large batch to the Suji Worldwide Commerce, so I rushed over anxiously. Suji Worldwide Commerce is too strong, I can't compare. I don't ask for much. I'll just drink the soup while others eat the meat. Can you sell some to me?" General's eyes are like torches. Su Jin could only bite the bullet. "We have tested it before. Its ability to endure energy is stronger than corundum and slightly weaker than energy jade." "In your bowl? Since when did it belong to you?" Bai Yu shook his head. Su Jin wanted to punch the old man's face. He had been cheated to death by him. "Oh, to actually be able to enter Suji Worldwide Commerce's eyes, I wonder if I can take a look?" Bai Yu asked curiously. 500 of them? Good. Bai Xiao and Bai Yu looked at each other, their hearts trembling. Su Jin quickly said, "Suji Worldwide Commerce is willing to buy them for 300 million per cubic meter, however much you have." "General Bai, from what this nephew knows, you don't have that much cash, right?" Suji Worldwide Commerce was one of the top weapons merchants in the world, and had a huge influence. Ordinary people might not know about it, but how could Bai Yu and the rest not? Su Jin originally had some guesses about Tang Tian's background, and seeing Qin Yuran, Bai Yu and the rest, his heart became even darker. Young Miss Yuran's personality was extremely prideful, and rarely did she treat anyone differently. And the Bai family's power was not inferior to the Su family. 20% discount. Su Jin's face was filled with pain. Can I buy anything? Tang Tian asked curiously. Tang Tian laughed. His expression did not change. Xiao Bai was a good person. As for the Empyrean ice tree spears, he did not place much importance on them. There were too many of them. He actually asked Big Brother Meng about training. Qin Yu Ran was surprised. Who was Bai Yu? He was a true famed general. Su Jin walked in, and upon seeing Qin Yu Ran and the rest, he was surprised. I never thought that I would be able to meet young Miss Yu Ran, General Bai and young Master Bai here. I am Su Ji Worldwide Commerce's Su Jin. Greetings everyone. 15% discount. Su Jin said without hesitation. The crucial point was that he had given a favor to Tang Tian. He had just taken 4 billion worth of Empyrean ice tree spears from Tang Tian, and it was not a small favor, but in the blink of an eye, he had helped Tang Tian earn a huge sum. He wanted to help Tang Tian get even more benefits, so he specially reminded Tang Tian. Hearing that, Tang Tian's eyes lit up. Then I want to buy an army. A complete army. I have no objections. Bai Yu laughed sinisterly. He turned and looked at Tang Tian. Selling it to the Su Ji Worldwide Commerce is good. It saves us trouble. The price is not bad. You can let them deliver it themselves. Oh, if you have any special requests, feel free to ask. There is nothing that the Su Ji Worldwide Commerce cannot buy. More or less. Bai Yu laughed. Hoo. Tang Tian completed the last movement, his entire body exhausted. Fundamental martial techniques did not consume much physical strength, but the control of the null flames consumed a lot of physical strength and mental state. After the greetings, Su Jin spoke to Tang Tian. Mr. Meng, I am here for the black gold. My shop hopes to purchase black gold, and hopes that Mr. Meng can provide us with a stable supply of black gold, regardless of how much we are willing to buy. Bai Yu sneered. Xiao Su is not sincere. The profits from weapons are extremely shady. Bai Yu was extremely happy. He did not spend a single cloud coin, and obtained so many benefits without risking anything. He was extremely clear of the weight of the agreement. The silver-winged swordsman Xiao Yi and had been recruited by He Ying, causing He Ying's reputation to soar. At the same time, Meng Nan, who had heavily injured Molten Steel Fist Shi Ao and blocked Xiao Yi and sword, gave Ling Xia, who was about to become the commander of the 5th Army, some power. Qin Yu Ran's beautiful eyes lit up. I knew that Big Brother Meng would definitely think of a way. In time, the undercurrents in White Sand City surged. Bai Yu was startled by those words. He subconsciously wanted to retort, but faintly felt that there was a deeper meaning behind those words. In that moment, he was in a daze and deep in thought. Bai Yu glanced at the Empyrean ice tree spears before retracting his gaze. He was more interested in another question, and spoke in an amiable tone. Xiao Meng, I saw you training just now, and they were all very fundamental techniques. Uncle is stupid. Can you talk about the Dao behind them? Bai Yu laughed. The Bai family can guarantee that the black gold warship weapons that we purchase from the Su Ji Worldwide Commerce will only be used by us, and will not be sold. Tang Tian looked at Bai Yu and shook his head. Being simple does not mean that it is weak. No problem. Tang Tian said straightforwardly, how much do you want? It's so early in the morning, why are all of you here together? Tang Tian asked weakly. Su Jin had an unkind look. Uncle, what do you mean? Everyone was startled. In truth, when he saw Bai Yu and his group, Su Jin knew that he had miscalculated. Although black gold was good, but Su Jin's merchant nature was to buy low and sell high, and naturally hoped to buy at a lower price. From Tang Tian's reaction that day, Su Jin felt that the other party did not understand the true value of black gold. He kept the Empyrean ice tree spears. Chapter 610. Xiao Meng can see it very clearly. Bai Yu praised. The quality of these small armies are definitely not as good as the big armies, so it depends on the strength of the commander. If the commander is strong and has a high standard, then the strength of the army will not be too bad, at least the standard of training will not be low, and the synchronization rate will be about the same. Even if they cannot operate warships, operating a warship is not a problem. Su Jin did not dare imagine such a scene. No one would have thought that Tang Tian would actually want to buy an army. They had never heard of anyone buying an army before. Su Jin felt as though all the energy in his body had been sucked out. What material was better than black gold? Alright, can I say that building a stronghold does not require such good materials? He gave up struggling. Warship weapon specialists, the best ones are hard to find, but those with deep foundations and strength are still easy to recruit. How much do you want? An army commander must have strength. Tang Tian added. Tang Tian suddenly thought about Xiao by saying that black gold was suitable to be used as warship weapons. He thought about the sword forest stronghold, which was completely made out of black gold. Could it be changed into warship weapons? Then wouldn't the sword forest stronghold have offensive capabilities? All of the elites were raised by cloud coins. For example, the daily training, every training required a huge expenditure. Just the daily training expenses of elite armies was already an astonishing amount of expenditure. Bai Yu knew that such conditions, to those who were unwilling, were extremely tempting. There were countless bronze armies in the sacred Saint Galaxy, and there was no lack of targets to choose from. But they could only poach bronze armies now. To poach silver armies, it was not just a problem of money. Tang Tian was happy. Bai Yu scratched his chin and muttered, Xiao Meng, although your idea is not easy to handle, but it is rather creative. You are guarding such a treasure bowl without an army, it will be impossible. So it's like that? Tang Tian thought for a moment. Then let's make it 10, the rest will be experts in other fields. What warships, materials, weapons, armors, I will build a laboratory for them. Hearing Tang Tian's words, Bai Yu laughed out loud. That's not how you calculate it. What you are providing now is the treatment of an elementary silver army, but it is not a true silver army. They were still a bronze-grade army, and it would not be easy for them to become a silver-grade army. Not all bronze armies could become silver armies. Moreover, no one knew how much this process would cost. 5 years? 6 years? A true silver-grade army was worth more than 60 billion, and a silver-grade army was much more expensive than a warship. In the past, there was a fellow who found the Bai family and requested for a silver-grade army to help them. Do you know how much it cost? For some reason, Su Jin heaved a sigh of relief. You finally know how expensive it is. Qin Yu ran and Bai Xiao were completely numb from the shock. How much are the commanders of those small continents worth? Bai Yu sneered. 20 million cloud coins is enough. As for the sergeants, each of them was worth 5 million. There were even fewer soldiers. It would be best if all their family members could be moved. As long as the entire family migrated, they would receive 1 million yuan as a settlement fee. An army of 1,000 men could definitely be taken down by 2 billion. You have money now, and having money is a form of entertainment. Su Jin snapped out of his daze and shock and started to speak incoherently. Hey Jin, it was black gold. You used it to build a castle. You're crazy. Do you have too much money and nowhere to burn it? Dismantle it. Everything was demolished. Don't waste it, sell it to me. Sell it to me. If you want to build a stronghold, I will transport the materials for you and operate it for free. 2 billion a year. Those small continents could not afford to support such an army. 50 billion. Bai Yu was extremely pleased. Upon seeing me, his opponents would be so scared that they peed in their pants. I, your father, did not even need to spend any effort to take down 2 continents, as though it was a game. This 50 billion, I feel so good taking it. But a pity, such a good business is not something that can be encountered often. Anyway, you will know in the future, any army is all about profits. If you have money, you can just spend it. But this is only useful for small powerhouses. If the other party is a big powerhouse, then the problems involved will be very complicated. For example, the White Sands continent, no matter how much money you give, no one will dare to accept it. Although he had Sai Lei, but Sai Lei also needed assistance, and all of them were the assistants that Tang Tian had prepared for Sai Lei. Tang Tian was enlightened. Tang Tian was curious. How much did you spend? Not cheap, about 10 million as a settlement fee. Su Jin was confused. What do you need so many warship weapon specialists for? 100 warship weapon specialists? Is it fun to keep them there? 10 of them. 10 of them is enough for you to create a warship weapon stronghold. A cubic of 300 million cloud coins worth of black gold to use to create a castle. 2 billion it is. If their standards are high enough, I am willing to fork out 3 billion. Tang Tian's words were extremely tyrannical, immediately shocking everyone. No problem. I have been in an army for so many years, I can tell with one look who is at the standard. Among my old friends and classmates, there are a few powerful characters. Bai Yu patted his chest and said. Bai Yu and Su Jin felt that it was expensive, but to Tang Tian, it was too cheap. A single warship was worth more than 60 billion. How many armies was that? As expected, it was not cheap. The entire place was dead silent. Everyone had their mouths wide open as they looked at Tang Tian. Su Jin immediately became anxious. Uncle, this is my Su Ji Worldwide Commerce's business. Su Ji Worldwide Commerce still has this bit of ability. The army that Bai Yu commanded had better treatment than this, and the Bai family's wealth was robust enough to support them. As for the military generals without any background, no matter how talented they could only stay in the bronze rank armies, and were unable to display their strengths. Seeing that the two of them were about to quarrel again, Tang Tian said, each of you will get an army quota. I only want the highest standard. Bai Yu did not know what to say. He calmed himself down. I will handle this matter. With these conditions, do we still need to poach people? This is the treatment of a true silver rank army. All those people who are not successful will break their heads to come over. But Xiaomeng, you must guarantee an annual military expenditure of 2 billion. That's right, but the castle is slightly small, we will expand it now. Tang Tian scratched his head. Since the black gold can be used to create warship weapons, then can we change the castle into warship weapons? That must be very powerful. Tang Tian was shocked by Su Jin's spasms. Are these materials better than the black gold? Su Jin completely gave up and reminded weakly, the laboratory is a bottomless pit. If it is an ordinary standard, 500,000 star coins per person is enough. If it is better, 3 million star coins per person, there is no need to go any higher, the quality of the soldiers are not high enough. That would be 3 billion for an army. Su Jin's face changed. Mr. Meng also wants to do the weapon business. Su Jin immediately realized the benefits. All the poached armies would require equipment, and that would be another business. No problem, it won't cost much anyway. Tang Tian waved his hand. He had his own plans. He did not hope for these people to create any unique weapons, but the fusion of Heaven's Road and Sacred Saint Galaxy, the two systems, required these professionals. Su Jin's smile became even more bitter. Mr. Meng, if you want any weapons or the like, even if it is a gold rank, I can think of a way. You want an army? This was not just business. Bai Yu was right. With such good conditions, all the ambitious military generals would definitely fight to the death. I also want a warship weapon specialist. Tang Tian raised his hand. Is it very expensive? Tang Tian asked uncertainly. You can't buy it? Tang Tian was slightly disappointed. The idea was just a flash of inspiration. What he lacked the most was not weapons, nor cloud coins, but men. The precious Bright Village Regiment's foundation was too weak. Shursen had only recruited 500 underworld continent's demonic mounts. Seeing that Tang Tian did not have any reaction, Bai Yu secretly scolded him for being a tyrant, but he patiently explained, Xiaomeng, don't think that you can get an army with just 4 billion, that is just the first fee. The majority of the money is still needed to maintain the army, the salary needs money, the compensation needs money, the daily training needs money, the maintenance of the equipment also needs money. According to your arrangement, an army will need at least 2 billion a year. Do you know what standard that is? This is definitely the treatment of a silver-grade army. Bai Yu jumped up. Isn't that the arrangement of a silver-grade army? Do they need such good equipment? Is the Su Ji Worldwide Commerce a black shop? Then how much money do they need? Tang Tian asked. What is the world in the eyes of a tyrant? If I can directly buy an army, even if it is slightly weaker, I can throw it to Bing, and it will still be useful. It's not that we can't buy it, but we have to think of a way. Bai Yu muttered, armies, only the continent lords have them, as long as we ask around, which continent's finances are not good recently. Maintaining an army costs a lot of money, and if the finances are not good, we cannot afford it. But it is definitely not possible for the big continents. We have to ask around in this direction. Sai, we can still poach people. We can start poaching from the commanders, since you have money. Especially those commanders that are not important, we can poach them one by one. If that's the case, it will be easy. Su Jin had never done such business before, but with Bai Yu's reminder, he quickly regained his senses. With the Su Ji worldwide commerce's guarantee, poaching the armies of the small continents was extremely easy. As for the continent lords of the small continents, who would dare to find trouble with the Su Ji worldwide commerce? Spending a bit of money, they would definitely close one eye. Su Jin's eyes lit up, Bai Zhao's forehead was filled with cold sweat, so second uncle is actually so crafty. Su Jin, who had always maintained his composure, finally revealed a bitter smile. Mr. Meng, you are making things difficult for me. I have never heard of an army being able to be bought. Bai Yu also advised, that's right, Xiao Meng, laboratories and such are completely burning money. Right now, all of the old and famous companies have deep accumulations. No, I want to modify my stronghold. Tang Tong gestured with his hands, I have a castle made of black gold. As long as you are willing. Su Jin did not plan to persuade him anymore. The other party did not treat money as money. What else could he do? What about the army? How much do you need? Also, when you recruit an army, you need to equip them. Poaching is fine, but the equipment cannot be taken away. If not, others will fight with us. In any place, resources were limited. The Su Ji worldwide commerce's connections and strength in the military world have accumulated over thousands of words. We will definitely help Mr. Meng select the most outstanding army. Su Jin said solemnly. He secretly decided that he would definitely select the best army to surpass Bai Yu's. A castle made of black gold? Su Jin stuttered. His expression was as though he had seen a ghost. Bai Yu was also stunned and looked at Tang Tian in a daze. Bai Yu could not help but scold, I can't take it anymore. Tang Tian thought seriously for a moment, then let's recruit 100. Chapter 611. Needless to say, Qin Yuran was the continent lord's guest. As long as he dared to make a move, before the next day, his security bureau would be flattened. Ling Xian nodded her head. The three words, Golden Rose, seemed to have a strange power. The hotel guards who had already rushed out immediately shrank back. Someone is watching this? Tang Tian's eyes flashed with a cold glint. Who is it? Commander Tian remained expressionless. This is official business. This is an important matter. Please help me pass a message to Boss Su. This little brother has no choice. Tang Tian did not act pretentiously. Thank you, Uncle Ling. It's a misunderstanding, Commander Tian's face changed quickly. His face was immediately filled with smiles. Such a small matter, to actually disturb all of you masters. I am sorry. I had long felt that there was a problem. I will immediately go investigate again. Richard, who was already an arrow at the end of its flight, upon seeing Tang Tian, his tensed-up state of mind relaxed, and his head fell to the ground. Commander Tian's heart sank, but his expression did not change. How would I dare to trouble Duke Ming? Masterling, please do not make things difficult for my security bureau. There must be some misunderstanding. I just wanted to invite them to the security bureau to go through the procedures. If there is any misunderstanding, I can explain it to them. I don't know. Richard shook his head. Commander Tian looked at the person, and his face changed. Ling Xia. Ling Yuanhong's heart was filled with joy. He had made the right decision to come. Seeing the attitude of everyone present towards Tang Tian, he knew that he was definitely not someone without a background. The atmosphere was extremely tense. All of the warships lit up with faint light auras. A hand grabbed onto Richard. To her, It was because of her that Tang Tian was accidentally dragged into the whirlpool of power struggles. This mysterious expert had already been branded as a member of the Ling family. To the Ling family, it was definitely a good thing, but if they offended Tang Tian, it would not be worth it. Help me find out who the surname Tian is. Tang Tian said. He dared to be rough with Ling Xia, but definitely did not dare to touch Ling Yuanhong. Commander Tian said that he is a criminal? Ling Xia suddenly asked. Someone exclaimed. The black-robed men all stopped and faced Tang Tian from afar. Their bodies froze for a moment, and then they fell from the sky like dumplings. The faces of those who were hit by the blue light turned a beautiful and demonic blue color. Mr. Meng, if there's anything you need us to do, please let us know. The Ling family will definitely not refuse. That's right. Commander Tian said in a deep voice. This person is suspected of a major case and fled to avoid punishment. We've been pursuing him all the way. I didn't expect his accomplice to be here, and he even dared to kill someone on the streets. It's great that Sir Ling is here. I hope that Sir Ling can assist us in apprehending this thief. Qin Yuran had always been paying attention to Tang Tian. She saw that Tang Tian's expression was calm, but deep in his eyes, a cold glint flashed past, and knew that Big Brother Meng was truly angry this time. Ling Yuanhong heaved a sigh of relief. What about the people chasing you? Tang Tian asked. The White Sands Security Bureau is really impressive. I've really broadened my horizons today. Kill them on the spot? Commander Tian has such a big tone. Ling Xia flew out from the window, her face cold. Who does Commander Tian want to kill? As the patriarch of the Ling family, although Ling Yuanhong did not hold any official position, but the Ling family was extremely noble and had always been a kind family. For the past 10 years, Ling Yuanhong had spent all of his energy on helping the poor and the handicapped, and was deeply respected by the citizens. A few people flew out from the broken window. Bai Yu had a smile that was not a smile. By his side was young noble Bai Shao, and by his side were Su Jin, Ling Yuanhong and Qin Yuran. A manager of the White Sands Hotel rushed out with an ashen face and asked, Master Tian, what's the meaning of this? Under the light, Tang Tian had a sinister smile on his face, his killing intent soaring. The others all greeted him. Ling Yuanhong was not only Ling Xia's father, he was also the current patriarch of the Ling family, and had a huge influence in the White Sands continent. Twisting his waist and swinging his arm, the Empyrean ice tree spear in his hand transformed into a blue light. Whoosh, it shot towards the black figure chasing after Richard. The man covered in blood was Richard. Ling Xia introduced him simply. This is my father, Ling Yuanhong. Her expression did not change. Mr. Meng is an honored guest of the Continent Lord, and is not under the jurisdiction of the Public Security Bureau. I will ask Duke Ming to form a special investigation team to investigate this matter. If Commander Tian has evidence, the investigation team will go to the police station to collect evidence. Qin Yuran did not say anything, and only stared coldly at Commander Tian. The underworld continent's demonic mounts quickly arranged their defenses. A few warships had also arrived. The weapons on the ships pointed straight at Tang Tian and the White Sands Hotel. Ling Xia finally heaved a sigh of relief. She was not worried that Commander Tian would be rough. She was worried that Big Brother Meng would take action. Under the watchful eyes of the public, attacking the Security Bureau would put them in a passive position. Ling Xia stared at Commander Tian. His words seemed polite, but in truth, he was reminding her not to be a busybody. She smelled something unusual. When did the Mines Safety Bureau become so domineering? What she did not expect was that Big Brother Meng, who had always been reckless, was actually so calm. The sudden burst of killing intent caused everyone to be stunned. Under everyone's astonished gazes, Tang Tian was like an agile cheetah, leaping out in a flash. Bang, the glass window shattered, and Tang Tian, who was in mid-air, had an Empyrean ice tree spear in his hands. With that he brought everyone and left dejectedly. After handing over the matters of the army to the two of them, Tang Tian calculated he had 3 billion cloud coins left, which was enough to buy 2 armies. He was extremely pleased with his sudden inspiration. What kind of genius young man would be able to think of such a genius idea? I also did not think that it would be like this. Ling Xia's face was filled with apology. Upon hearing the rumors, she immediately rushed to the White Sands Hotel to apologize to Tang Tian. When the few of them appeared, the surrounding spectators immediately went into an uproar. Especially with Qin Yu Rant's appearance, the surrounding spectators all went into an uproar. How could Ling Xia not know what Commander Tian was planning? Mr. Meng's identity is noble. I will personally take care of this matter. Commander Tian, please return. Ling Xia never thought that Commander Tian would actually take advantage of the situation and counterattack her. Thank you everyone for your help. Tang Tian thanked them sincerely. Tang Tian's eyes peeked through the glass window and suddenly saw a figure, causing his pupils to constrict. Leave it at that? You have to ask me first. Uncle Ling is too polite. I am friends with Ling Xia and the rest. This is just a small matter. Tang Tian did not care. He had mingled with the other silk pants yesterday. As for the conspiracy, what was that? Ling Yuanhong said, the hotel is still inconvenient. The Han family has a manor in the west of the city. It is rather quiet and has been empty for a long time. If Mr. Meng does not mind, why not move there? Tang Tian was concerned about Richard's injuries and went to check on him and found out that although Richard was covered in blood, it was only a flesh wound and nothing serious. Master Ling. Commander Tian immediately bowed. This criminal has committed a heinous crime. This Tian has a duty. If my words offend you, I hope that Master Ling will forgive me. Su Jin was expressionless. I wonder if Commander Tian needs to go to the Su Ji Worldwide Commerce to investigate? They are from the Golden Rose. The Golden Rose is the most famous assassin organization in White Sands. We have to be careful. They will definitely not let this matter rest. Richard warned. The leader of the black-robed men said coldly, this man stole my Golden Rose's secret. Could it be that you are the mastermind? Tang Tian suddenly appeared beside Richard like a ghost. He threw Richard behind him, to the underworld continent's demonic mounts who had rushed over. Bring him to the doctor. The manager's face changed. He finally understood that the situation was not normal. She was able to take over the Fifth Army. Other than her family background, her individual strength and intellect were all outstanding. He Ying's display of enmity that day made her extremely cautious. Richard slowly woke up. Seeing that it was Tang Tian in front of him, he heaved a sigh of relief. The black-robed man opposite him was obviously not a good person. His eyes revealed a fierce look. Dressed in tight black robes, there was a golden rose emblem on his chest. The black-robed man had long disappeared. Although he said that he was helpless, his face did not have any expression. What's going on? Tang Tian asked. Ling Yuanhong was worried that something would happen on the road, and personally sent Tang Tian to the Ling family's courtyard. The place had been empty for a long time, and usually there were a few servants to clean and take care of it, so they could directly move in. After settling everything, Ling Yuanhong and Ling Xia left. Just at that moment, a group of public security officers dressed in uniforms suddenly rushed out from behind the tall building and surrounded the White Sands Hotel. The leader of the public security officers bellowed, "Do not let the fugitive go." Commander Tian's face changed. The situation had gone out of control, causing his scalp to go numb. The Bai family uncle and nephew represented the Bai family. Even if he was given 10 guts, he would not dare to make a move. Su Ji Worldwide Commerce was not to be trifled with. Even the continent lord was extremely courteous to Su Jin. The few black-robed men at the front all used their weapons to block. She started to think, how could she help Big Brother Meng obtain useful information? At this time, Ling Yuanhong had personally come to apologize and expressed the Ling family's attitude. Ling Yuanhong was not only Ling Xia's father, he was also the patriarch of the Ling family. Such an attitude was giving Tang Tian face. Empyrean ice tree spears. Pa. The blue light was as weak as ice, and instantly shattered, but an undetectable blue aura took the chance to enter their bodies. Hearing Ling Xia's words, Tang Tian then knew that the news of the Ling family obtaining strong reinforcements had already spread far and wide. Outside the hotel, a man covered in blood stumbled, flying towards the hotel in a panic. and behind him, a group of black dots were chasing closely. "Richard," Ling Yuanhong sneered, "seems like we are also thieves. Commander Tian wants to take us down as well. It's a matter with the 13 families, there are people watching over it, I went to inquire about it and alarm them." Richard laughed bitterly. "Luckily I found someone familiar, and that familiar person sensed that something was amiss and alerted me. If not, I would not have been able to return today." Commander Tian did not care about the manager of the White Sands Hotel and squinted his eyes and spoke to Tang Tian coldly. "Not only are you harboring a fugitive, you actually killed someone on the streets. I advise you to surrender. If you dare resist, you will be killed on the spot." Just at that moment, Ling Xia brought a middle-aged man to visit. Commander Tian knew that there was no turning back, and his expression turned cold. "Master Ling is stubborn, you cannot blame me for that. Take them all down." The Security Bureau was only in charge of White Sands City's security, and to the commanders, it was not even worth mentioning. Usually, when the man surnamed Tian saw her, he would be like a mouse seeing a cat, but today, he was different and definitely had something to rely on. You're tuning in to the Wang Lin's Journey YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.